Welcome, Collegiate fans, as we are here for the final day of the Overwatch Collegiate Championship Series season, and it is upon us. As we have looked back at these weeks, we can say that many of those who've participated have evolved and continued to demonstrate some stellar play. Phenomenal, even would some say, from last weekend into this weekend. But now, it is only 3 teams that remain, fighting for that title, the glory, and the prize pool. And they will be able to have a chance to make their name be written in history again. I am your caster, Rich Rad, here with none other than Kenobi, the only caster I would like to be alongside for this, able to finish up this day. My friend, let it begin.
I mean, if anything that we have today is like what we had yesterday, then the entire audience that we have is in for a treat. We had some absolutely insane series yesterday, particularly that one between Maryville University and Northwood University. We have to start off with Harrisburg University versus Northwood, and you're right, Rich, there are only 3 teams that remain. Harrisburg University, Northwood University, and Maryville University sitting in that grand final, figuring out who they're going to be facing to get the championship that will potentially bring them to the promised land.
It's just exciting to see these three go fight their way to that ultimate goal. As we take a look here at the losers bracket, starting off, you saw Harrisburg manage to take a 3-0 over Redbirds to now find our first match of the day. Best of fives for now as we continue on for the rest of the way. And it's going to be an adventure for one of these teams in this losers bracket to move up and compete against Maryville, who sits back, is able to evaluate and see who is going to be moving up against them.
I mean, you can even see that 3-2 that we had between Maryville and Northwood University. That was a matchup that very easily could have gone either way. It went the complete distance on Junkertown, second rounds of offenses with a minute left for both of them. It was just a back and forth absolute slobber knocker. And if we do end up getting another Northwood versus Maryville type of situation in the grand finals, that one's going to be an absolute bloodbath. But we still, again, have to get through Northwood versus Harrisburg University, a matchup that also tends to be really, really good and really competitive between two of the two best that we have in Collegiate.
And as you can see below, make sure you give your predictions because we are waiting to see whether or not you are on the right path to see who succeeds or find yourself to the wayside being a little regretful of your decision. But either way, no matter what your decision is, you are helping support this collegiate scene. As we're going to take a look at Northwood's roster first, though, before entering into this game. And from what we've seen over the course of this weekend, how they've been able to step up, we highlighted significantly when it came to Boat and Dynasty yesterday, and what they were able to do to really build out this competition.
I think specifically the DPS line has been rather impressive to me, and Boat, specifically for me, has been someone who has really come into their own as a partner for Dynasty, because towards the start of the bracket, it was a lot of just Dynasty was the one who was popping off, but Boat has a lot of really good moments in their back pocket, playing more of that long range hit scan, and I think that it's something that Northwood has really thrived in, is having Dynasty have that Scottie Pippen to the Michael Jordan type aspect of this team. And also, I think you got to give huge credit to the tank line that's been playing incredibly well too. Seasons on the Orisa, whenever they get that hero, absolutely unreal with how many good halts that they're hitting, comboed along with the DPS or comboed along with Cowman. And specifically for me, someone that I've had my eye on the entire time that I've seen this team is Landon on flex support. Landon, I think, is someone who is worthy to be in Overwatch League. I think they do have that capability, and they have the talent to do so, and they've proved it throughout the entirety of this bracket so far.
And there's been recognition from other players and even leadership from coaches to directors about seasons on the Orisa, Landon on the support line, and recognition for Boat and Dynasty. But with us talking heavily about Northwood, we also have to take a look at the other side. Harrisburg University, who we did see on multiple occasions yesterday where they were able to game that 3-0 over ISU. Lethal and Tap were just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think Lethal and Tap is potentially the best DPS duo all around that we just have in the tournament left. I think Iced and Cyrus are very good, as well as Dynasty and Boat, but from top to bottom, I think just as a unit, I think Lethal and Tap both bring to the table that carry potential that I think you need at this point in the bracket, as well as something that we have to talk about with Harrisburg University is that Retina is going to be subbing in for Elk, and Elk was playing yesterday. We heard from Lethal, actually. Lethal said that Elk is an important part of this roster, so how is Retina going to slide into this? Obviously, he's not been playing, but he does, able to soak up some of that information from the bench, probably got some words from Elk beforehand about what to do, so hopefully it's not going to impact the game too much, and Harrisburg can pick off exactly where they left off yesterday by beating Redbirds 3-0.
And Shake, their coach, communicated this, that they feel strongly from what Elk has been able to communicate with them. They have been scrimming more consistently with Elk, of course, to get to this position, one objective at a time. And now that they've come here, still feels confident that Retina stepping in is able to bear the weight that I think some look at as the substitute to Elk, who we've seen do such a tremendous job yesterday. And again, overall, really cannot wait to see how Harrisburg is going to perform against Northwood, and that duel in this sense between these two DPS lineups, which we've really highlighted specifically over yesterday into today.
And I think one of the things that's going to be interesting about this map, or this matchup, and we heard it from Lethal yesterday, is the compositional differences is going to be something to really keep out for, because Northwood University, where their bread is buttered is in double shield. If they can just play maps that double shield is favored, they are so good at that composition, I think more than any other comp that they have in their back pocket. So it's going to be up to Harrisburg to kind of figure out what Maryville did yesterday. Maryville was totally fine opting in for the double shield mirror and actually were able to win and take over Northwood University. Can Harrisburg do the same thing, or are they going to try and opting in, for ball compositions, for some sort of dive composition looks as well? That's really what my focus is going to be on going into this matchup, are those compositional differences, because that really is going to be able to set the tone for either of these teams as we go into control.
Yep, we'll be able to find out shortly as we enter on to Nepal. Once again, this is the back-to-back days for this week 2 that we will consistently be starting on this map for the rest of this evening. And as we saw, there was a variety of different things. You commented on the double shield, which has been significant and something of great outcome for Northwood, but there has been some adjustments trying to compete into it with that wrecking ball. This specific map of control has some variety where you can opt to go potentially for that Sombra, which we've seen basically time and time again, more in that open space spectrum or spacing, but it's this high risk, high reward with it. So the double shield, I wouldn't be surprised even to see Harrisburg bring out the same thing to try and potentially combat against them, to gain that understanding of where their power level is to compete against Northwoods.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the map that we go to as well, because there are 3 different maps that you have in Nepal, and whichever one specifically we go to, that's going to really determine what the composition is going to be. Some maps do favor more of the ball. We know on Village, right, that's where a lot of teams just play more of that rush style of composition, and like just the brawl, get on point, stuff like that. Shrine is a little bit more open. Sanctum is a little bit more open as well. Sanctum will be the first match we're getting into. You're in the losers finals. Remember, this is win or go home. Best of 3. If you win this, you are guaranteed yourselves a place in the grand finals of the Overwatch Collegiate Championship Series.
Absolutely, and as the intensity increases, I guarantee you these players are feeling it, because they know they have quite an adventure ahead of them. Either one having to not only beat this top player of Maryville once, but a second time because of a possible reset. As these doors are about to open, we take a look and see what those compositions are going to be, differentiating one another.
So Lethal is going to be on the Sombra, and we saw yesterday when Lethal played this map on the Sombra, was farming EMP so quickly. Got 3 of them in this map alone, and I wonder if Northwood University is going to be aware of this and going to be able to stop Lethal's incredibly quick farming of these EMPs. Because if Lethal can do the same thing again, where he farmed it up so quick like he did yesterday, as he gets a hack on a Dynasty, that's really big.
Especially with the Discord Orb, that's extra damage, so they can't sustain through it. Kawa gets the pickup, and this is a great opportunity for Harrisburg just to take control of this and really manage this pacing for the rest of this round.
Yeah, I mean, Dynasty is going to be able to come back. He is the Tracer, but this is a moment where Harrisburg University can potentially set up some positioning like they would want. Here comes Akawa with the bull.
Nice stun on the back, making sure that they can get Northwood into a very awkward position up front. Has to deviate away from the position. Does get topped up from Landon in the back. Control point finally claimed as Harrisburg gets their first %.
And there's another really good bull from Akawa. They're really doing a good job of hindering Dynasty, and Lethal, you can see already 55% towards that EMP, but Divio gets taken down by Seasons.
Yep, Seasons up front continuing to weather the storm of damage that comes through, and now that both tanks have been positioned up front, they do have shielding to cover the transition down onto the point. Northwood, despite the Discord constantly being tossed out here from Soames in the back, the focus fire is lacking, and Lethal goes down and not able to get that EMP into this, and even gets a knockoff here from a great play from Yamitra.
And I think once Divio goes down, it's very hard for Harrisburg University to move forward because they don't have a shield that they can walk around with, and Boat can just free fire, same with the spam from the tanks as well. It's very difficult to get into those fights, and now this is where Northwood University want to be. They want to be in a position where they can set up their defense, but Lethal is coming in with that EMP. Yamitra not close to the rally just yet, so it's going to be on Landon's Immortality field to stop some of this damage.
And it should come out early enough that they can at least get some damage. 3 are clipped, though, by the EMP. Comes out very quickly before either ultimate was expended. Yamitra, though, waits, keeps distance, gains the armor necessary. Soames eliminated, removes that Discord Orb, so the focus fire is going to be more challenging than it once was. And Harrisburg, at this point, can't stick in this position, and they're getting overrun.
I mean, it was a good idea with the EMP, getting the tanks and making sure that you were able to secure some of those kills, but unfortunately, the follow-up just wasn't there. Really well played by the supports of Northwood University, by Landon and Yamitra, keeping those tanks alive so that they can basically weather the storm of the EMP. And now Harrisburg University are coming back in. They have a couple of key ultimates of their own. With the support one specifically, you're bringing in the Brigade to rally, you're bringing in the Transcendence, and Northwood University don't really have the support ultimates to deal with it, but they have so many ultimates in terms of their tank and DPS ults that they can really make sure Harrisburg University have to commit a lot to win this fight.
And this is a dire stretch in this first round. 25% still to go. It's do or die as a pulse bomb comes in, and the Transcendence Transcendence is forced out because of it. Supercharger keeping this balcony position for Boat to find positions between those two columns to make sure they get some decent sight lines. Supercharger down though, Tap able to eliminate it, but there's already far too much done. You have a Dragon Strike that comes in as more of a Hail Mary in the Flux just to make sure that they do get it out before being picked up, but the support line keeping Boat alive. Contention now has to be on the point. Great early pickup by Retina though to eliminate Cowman and stem the bleeding here for them to swap it back, but this overtime is still managing to vanish. Someone has to touch and they do.
Yeah, I mean, Landon's still alive though. Here comes the EMP. It does manage to find 3. They secure the kill onto Boat.
Yep, that'll be enough for them to come back into this, take it back. They rotate to get rid of both Seasons and Yamitra. The rally will give them some time to actually recontest this. Cowman on this Wrecking Ball gives fortification for this position. Tap at this point has to just push so far forward past the shielding to get the damage. Yamitra and Seasons in tandem with this Cowman Wrecking Ball are doing so much to give a chance for recovery here, especially with Boat now on the 76.
I mean, he's just going to be free-firing right now into that backline. Can he secure any of those kills? The Lucio is so low, but it looks like Harrisburg is starting to turn this one, and the Dragon Blade comes out. That should secure the fight for Harrisburg. At the very death, they're able to hold on here. Northwood University putting Cowman back onto that Sigma. It's 99% for them, but Harrisburg University committed a lot for that fight. Dynasty is able to take out Soames, but it won't worry too much in the end. And again, this is a little bit of a scary situation now for Northwood University coming back into this. They're going to be walking into an EMP. We've seen Lethal be very effective with these, and this time Northwood don't necessarily have the defensive ultimates to deal with it. So if the follow-up is there from the ball, from Tap, from Divio, they should be able to secure this fight win on Harrisburg's side.
But since they don't have the ultimates and there is enough time, they could look for another neutral fight to try and gain some value into this on their end of it. And the hack is going to make that extremely challenging to generate any ultimate economy, and now, like you mentioned, they didn't really have much, and they still practically don't going into this next one.
I mean, it's not very flashy, a solo EMP onto Seasons, but taking out that Orisa means the rest of the composition of Northwood University just falls apart when you lose the tip of the spear like that, and Harrisburg University are able to cycle into a couple of key ultimates as we see Lethal with this EMP. It's very, just, get Seasons out of there, no Fortify is available to keep them alive, and I think Harrisburg University doing a good job of understanding, here we go, with an engage, but it gets nothing!
Seasons gets the takedown, and the minefield is being mitigated. Supercharger placed in the doorway to make sure it does block the incoming damage so they can peek the corner, but there's Soames coming in big onto Dynasty, eliminating them. Both having almost this Deadeye available to potentially zone. Yamitra and Landon have to make some serious value from these two support ultimates as Landon rushes back to get into this. Now, Tap eliminated, removes a lot of that backline presence and harassment, and the rally continuing to stack this armor. Landon now committing the extra damage to swap this over with the amplification matrix. This is such a challenging position for Harrisburg to get back onto this point, especially when you've got that 6-shooter in the backline looking for those targets. The Transcendence mitigates some of the overall damage that's throughput, but this should just be Northwood's.
I mean, Lethal's coming in with the EMP, only is able to take down Dynasty, and you're right, this is going to be Northwood's all the way right here. A very back and forth map between both of these teams, but it's Northwood who take it first. Again, with that double shield composition, I think Dynasty had a lot of really great plays in that map, forcing out Transcendences with Pulse Bomb, getting kills onto Soames. Soames was able to bring it back a couple of times, but the way that Dynasty was able to get into the backline a lot and just make life miserable for the supports was absolutely incredible there. And so they're going to have to really start checking Dynasty, which they were doing a little bit earlier in the map.
And because we have so much emphasis on Dynasty and Boat, because of the ability to take control of these engagements and these crossfires and the value that they can bring just as a whole around this stellar tank and support line. As we take a look at that prediction, you're all in the boat for Harrisburg. We've got a lot of viewers out there rooting for them, and they've already lost one round. Let's see if they can pick this one up for a third.
And we're going to be seeing Dynasty going on to the Echo this time as Lethal just walks off the map. So that's just, I mean, that's just the fight over. There's no way that they can take this fight now, and this is just going to be free positioning for Northwood, especially with that halt combo. I mean, this is something that we talked about, Rich. The combination between Seasons and between Burger Bandit, who is Cowman, is impeccable. Like, those types of plays, whenever there's a halt coming out, it feels like Cowman knows exactly where it's going, knows exactly when to hit that accretion, and this is just off of Lethal's small mistake there. It's just free space taken for Northwood University, and that's worst case scenario because Northwood is fine just setting up here with that double shield, and Lethal wasn't able to farm up that EMP, which is a win condition ultimate in a composition like this.
And when you're in this, final stretch of the playoffs, those micro moments of precision is so vital. And with this early percentage gain, Northwood have the advantage. Immortality Field has already been spent. Both Dynasty and Boat almost getting picked up. A beautiful recovery from both Renitra and Landon to keep them topped up and secured on the outskirts here. The DMEC comes through, Divio is down, and once again continue to snowball this percentage gain.
I really love what I'm seeing here from Northwood University with how they're setting up this crossfire. They're not letting Harrisburg enter this point at all. Dynasty even going very deep there, but knows his limits and is just trying to force out some cooldowns. You can see Tap with the Pulse Bomb. That might be what Harrisburg need to break open this map, or they can just wait for that EMP for the Transcends and just brute force their way on.
And it's that understandance of this ebb and flow to show how much of a precision and just great player this individual is. Dynasty continuing to just go forward, finding these angles for these tri-shots to grow ever so near that duplicate, which can be extremely critical at this 60% marker.
We're just waiting patiently. I mean, Lethal has so close towards this EMP. Tap takes out both. That's huge. This is the go button for Harrisburg.
Yep, green means go. It's got the pedal to the metal as you have an EMP from Lethal landing onto 4. Bolt supports most specifically are hit in this, so they will be overrun and forced back. There is an attempt to return.
Sports,
now that they follow up, there is both a supercharger and a flux in retaliation. Northwood right now has absolutely bamboozled Harrisburg. Lethal, the only opportunity, has now fallen to the wayside and now swaps to Hanzo.
And I mean, now it's last fight territory here. Northwood University are just going to continue to rack up these kills, 92%. And is there anyone that's even going to be able to get to this point here, Rich? I don't know.
I'm not sure either as we continue to go through it, as we look for this pressure to attempt to swap it back. The overtime is active. That great focusing beam eliminates Akawa, and you will have this overtime easily in favor of Northwood as they just play this impeccably. Nepal is a map of dominance for them to... Oh, well, there's a couple of pickups here, and the rally coming out from Retina could give enough sustain for some harassment. The focus fire has to be there in this overtime for Harrisburg to just draw this out and actually take it back.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be able to stay alive here, but they have to play the rest of this map nigh impeccable right now. Tap still has the Pulse Bomb ready to work with right now, and actually Seasons takes down Soames. This is a moment where Northwood can aggress.
Yep, losing that utility and mobility. It's Akawa also falling in suit. This is 6 versus 4, and these healers right now from Northwood are just keeping all of Northwood on the brink of their health being evaporated. But Lethal comes in with the Dragon Strike. That late swap from the Sombra play has yielded value, especially taking out the supports in the back line, and they will be able to retain this first.
I mean, Lethal's so good. Like they're just like finding Boat and then a perfect Dragon Strike onto the stairs, meaning that Northwood University can't really move. It just zones them away, and Lethal now on this Hanzo pick, getting a little bit more value, able to contest some of those, contest the Echo in the air a little bit more, put some pressure on, and if you're Harrisburg University, or Northwood University, you can't really step out of line because Lethal will just take your head off if you do so.
And that just severity and potency from Lethal really is being recognized. You can see by this position, they're waiting for these moments to enter in onto this Tap, getting some great chip damage onto that play from Dynasty up top in the sky, now attempting to try and survive actually through the aggression from Landon in the back, who's near that amplification matrix. Lethal goes down, Boat gets the cycling around the backside to eliminate them, and the rally has to come in by Retina, giving armor as well as Yamitra for Northwood to sustain on this point. The focusing beam targeting that support player. Soames not able to go down, but Retina does, and that will give Northwood agency to take this back despite the minefield coming out from Akawa.
Oh, there's so much healing, though, available, and now Seasons is just trying to get these kills on the back line. Harrisburg is swapped over towards a Lucio and a Moira just to get someone back to the point in a desperation swap.
Seasons with a pile drive in the back, getting low enough onto Lethal to get the execution. Overtime is just falling right before their eyes. Harrisburg with a Hail Mary Diva play up top once again goes down before the remake, and that will be Northwood able to take this first map on their way to the best of 5.
Northwood University, I mean, a tale as old as time is when they play this double shield, it looks fantastic. Even sometimes when they switch up and have to go over to the ball, if you still have that synergy between Seasons and the DPS, it still works out wonders there, and it's going to be Northwood University taking first serve here in our first map.
And this, I strongly believe in this moment, despite this being a stellar Genji play, you even joked around while we were off cam about seeing Genji anymore, and we get to, have a little bit of a fun time getting to see it in action before it ever gets shut down, stunned, and completely denied, so major props to that. But as a whole, looking at what Northwood has done historically and the way that they are, from even talking with TubeSock from Northwood that they are a very emotional and motivated team. When they get these wins, when you start off on this type of positive foot, that is just something that could snowball them to feel even more confident in these rounds moving forward. And I think that can really give them a lot of value taking this first map of Control.
The weird thing, though, is that when we talked with, like, the interviews for Northwood, interviewees, they're like, we don't talk at all. Like, like no one really talks, and it's just, like, it's incredibly funny to me that they have this, like, kind of unspoken synergy between them because they've been playing together for so long. And I think that that's one of the things that makes Northwood University the best, is that they have that trust in each other where it's like, maybe you don't need to communicate everything, right? Especially in a double shield where it's like, you would think you would really need to be communicating at all times. The fact that they're able to do that with a little bit less communication than you would expect is pretty incredible. Like, there are times where Dynasty will just, you heard it, Dynasty just gets 3K and doesn't say anything, and he like swings the fight. There's no real pop-off moments, but that momentum brings them forward, and that trust in each other brings them to these moments where they are only 2 maps away from getting to the grand final.
And that just shows driven nature towards the goal. Dynasty knows what they want when they want it, and this team as a whole, and really excited to see how they're going to continue on into this as we actually get a hybrid map that we have not yet had the opportunity to really see, which is going to be Eichenwalde.
Eichenwalde is interesting because I think this is so I think double shield is good on the first point. Obviously, I think it's pretty decent. On the second point, though, I think that's where it like kind of struggles a little bit, where you can kind of just maybe go towards more of those vertical mobility type of compositions, you know, with the Winston, with something like that, potentially bring back the ball, and then third is rush. So I think that this is a very good map pick for Harrisburg University, and because they're picking something like Eichenwalde and not something like Kings Row where it's kind of just neutral, that tells me that they have something planned for a map like this.
And this is one of those things where we can see that back and forth dueling, one map after another, and leaning into your strengths right now is something that is necessary because, again, as we talked about at the top, Elk has been subbed out here with Retina, and not to give any lack of credibility to this, because Harrisburg still feels extremely confident with this adjustment and leading into this segment of the playoffs. They know that Retina can step up, and we saw it on multiple occasions, getting some really great critical stuns or getting a great couple of knockbacks as well to give distance for the team to retain some of their presence on the point. And with that adaptation, how is that going to fuel them? And being on a map that we, for the first time, get to actually see over the course of this playoff week.
Yeah, and I think Elk is someone who Harrisburg obviously are going to miss because it is someone like Elk. Like, Elk has so much pedigree. We even heard from Lethal yesterday where, like, having Elk on the team is a big deal. But again, it's about giving all that information to Retina, making sure that they're ready. And based on what we've heard from Shake, you know, they are definitely ready to put Retina in and give them that position to be able to thrive in a composition like this. But Northwood University, I mean, coming into this one, I think that this is a point for them where they really can put their foot down and say, like, we can play whatever we want. Like, we're not just like a very map-dependent, composition-dependent team. This is a map where they can really, if they win and if they play well, can show themselves to be like, if we do end up going to play Maryville, it doesn't just have to be a double shield mirror. We can bring out some weird stuff. I mean, this is a team that also brought out Bastion, like Pirate Ship on Junkertown. This is a team that will surprise you wherever we go. They have different types of strats in their back pocket, and I think it's something that they have over the other two teams, is their ability to just play whatever. Like, they sometimes will just come up with things off the spot and just say, this is good, let's go ahead and play this.
And to dive further into that, also just from discussion where it comes to not really being this set of playbooks ahead of time, and it becomes so challenging that they're more looking to the night before building that strategy. What are they going to do? They're having to adapt in the moment and completely evolve and just read their opponent. And now that they're seeing Northwood in this position, able to start understanding how that control map went, going on to a map that they feel very confident in, is something that can really start to allow them to regain this confidence, to build a foundation, to start working in these very critical decision-making moments to be successful, to bring this now to an even 1-1 score.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where you have to hold serve if you're Harrisburg, right? This is a best of 5. Like, you're not going home, best of 3 like we were a couple of days ago. But this is a point where, like, you have to win here or else it gets extremely difficult to win a series like that. Reverse sweeping is never going to be easy, right? As much as, like, it happens, we like to remember it happens a lot, it really doesn't. It's a very difficult type of challenge to be able to reverse sweep, especially going into other people's maps picks. Like, that's the hardest part, where it's like, if this goes down 2-0, you can just be Northwood and just say, we're going to maps where, like, we only are going to play double shield. And you, like, have to basically take that on the chin if you're Harrisburg University.
I'm just going to keep doing latte art if I'm going to get featured on these broadcasts. That's all I'm going to do.
Back-to-back days.
I know, right? I felt really good about it. And again, it's super exciting to be able to see these top 3 teams.
I can't believe you put there's a latte on the line.
Come on! That is literally a given. A given, Kenobi. Stop it. You know. You know me. And at this point, those that are tuning in know it as well. As we now enter onto this map defensively, we've got Tap and Lethal coming out on the Echo and the Hanzo.
Oh, man. Okay, so one of the things Harrisburg University has here is they're going to have some long-range spam potential, right? With Hanzo, with Echo. Boat was just trying to get a shot at the start. Now we'll be going on to the Tracer. So one of the things that the Tracer offers is the ability to get into the backline, kind of cause a lot of problems, secure some kills off the back of potentially some halts and some burst damage from Dynasty. And actually, it looks like Northwood University will be swapping their composition because running just a singular shield with the D.Va into Echo and Hanzo sounds like suffering.
Yep, absolutely. And with now Seasons and opting for this mobility, they're going to look to try and round that upper position to find an opportunity. And this is just such a scattered position. Dynasty still continuing to pummel damage into the back line. Immortality Field has been active to try and prevent them from being overrun. Nice takedown onto Lethal. That's the first pebble, just continuing to be tossed into the seed to make the bridgeway to their success. But defensively, Harrisburg able to find some great value with Tap playing on this Echo play.
And I think Northwood have done their homework here. They know where the bread is buttered for Harrisburg University, and it's on those DPS. But Akawa in the backline securing a couple of kills here, and it's actually Harrisburg University who completely turned that fight around, and Northwood University not looking as strong as they usually do on some of their double shield compositions. This is one of the problems that this team has, is that when they get taken off double shield, can they really hang? And Tap right now is just on a mission against Dynasty. He's getting so much value off of this Echo.
They've really elevated themselves, and it forces out the res now from your Mitra for Dynasty to try this a second time to see if they can outmatch Tap, who has been the one with the front foot and being able to keep Dynasty on the back foot. Over top has the duplicate now continuing to put damage in, but this is still a difficult position to transition through over by that bridgeway.
You're seeing an engagement coming in from Seasons. Tap has the duplicate ready and available, but Seasons gets taken out, and Tap is actually just going to use it on the Tracer. Not something you see too much as a duplicate, but will get pulse bomb very quickly.
Now potentially finding the target, tosses doesn't get the stick, so you can just see them jumping away consistently. Dynasty now able to get some value as you had Tap going into this transition of Tracer. The duplicate, Dynasty left free to do some work, which gives them value, but Tap finds it again. Absolutely punishes Dynasty time and time, and you've got Lethal also working so well on the low ground. Aerial for Tap, ground floor for Lethal.
Yeah, this has been Lethal and Tap's kind of playground right now throughout all of this. Like, between Tap being in the air like you were talking about, and Lethal just one-clipping Mercies. It doesn't even matter to him that they're in the air. Akawa has been farming on this ball, getting so much value, and Northwood University are going to have to just brute force their way into this point with all their ultimates, because it's the only set of ultimates they're going to get. Dynasty can duplicate the D.Va, gets a lot of value that way. But beyond that, if Northwood University doesn't win here with these ultimates, I have a strong feeling they might get full health.
I would agree with you. This full health is just around the corner. 60 seconds to go. Self-destruct in the high ground position. Doesn't get anybody, and with Retina down, a doorway has been opened, but can Northwood walk through it? They collapse into this small position. Self-destruct now up top is going to be easily mitigated and dodged away from, since it is in such a small room. Duplicated self-destruct again, having to put Northwood in such an unbelievable position. Landon comes out big and is actually able to help turn this around with just the sheer amount of brute force that they add to the mix of this.
And I mean, this is the thing I think Northwood University did really well there, was Cowman with the bomb early in that fight. He threw it out into the air against Tap and against Retina. They got separated, and the entirety of Northwood University understood that if we take down Retina, that's so much healing that's lost. But now with Tap having a little bit more open air, they have to respect the damage Tap is going to have. He can just beam down Yamitra very easily. Lethal is lethal against Boat right now. This has been a TVT that hasn't really been TVT. It's been completely lethal-sided throughout this map so far.
And it just seems that Harrisburg has elevated themselves on both roles. Tap over Dynasty and Lethal over Boat. And that is such a surprise to see, but they really are coming in and demonstrating their ability as Boat now. just looks to near and pepper in damage for them to get to this pulse bomb. This is just a very slow transition into this next position.
Oh, here comes the Ant Matrix from Soames. Can they get anything done with it? They're trying to heal the rest of the team up, and so many ultimates coming in for Harrisburg.
Yeah, there's a lot of them down below. You do have the minefield committed into this, and there's still some presence by Lethal getting Yamitra. Again, both supports are down, and that's a done dusted fight.
I mean, that's a lot of ultimates committed, though, from Harrisburg University in that fight there. They basically used their entire bank. Tap is going to throw out a self-destruct to see what it can find, but this is now a moment where Northwood University have a little bit of an advantage in terms of ultimate economy. They can use their own Ant Matrix to push forward and take that space away. Again, what I would like to see from Kalman, he did this before, throw that self-destruct up into the air, make Tap and Retna a little bit uncomfortable so that they have to move away from that self-destruct and don't get clipped by it.
And as the minute and 25 seconds continue to reduce, this only becomes even more intense as it has been quite a challenge for Northwood to move through the castle doors, approaching the castle itself as both support ultimates are committed into this by Northwood. Tap once again.
Tap.
It is just the Tap show right now over Dynasty, and something's gotta change.
Retna gets taken down, though, so that's big. That's a lot of healing loss. Tap does no longer have a pocket, but is there enough damage to follow up and take him out before Retna can get back into this fight?
Kawa underneath, looking to regroup with the rest of the team for Harrisburg so they can put themselves into a dominant position to go into this potential last fight. If this is, even hidden in the back, should get sought out here. Oh, actually finds Retna, which is beautifully done. They don't stick around for the extra assistance, and a pulse bomb comes in, but beautiful timing for the immortality field.
I mean, Boat really pops up there. One clips the Mercy and then gets immortality field out. This is a moment where Northwood can aggress.
And you got that focusing beam onto the back line. Once again, Yamitra being overwhelmed. And now a duplicated Bab. Oh, wow. I'm just absolutely mesmerized by what Harrisburg is able to do on this defensive position.
I mean, Tap is just, this has been Tap's show the entire time. Dynasty, who is extremely good at heroes like Echo, like these projectile DPS. Tap is just saying, I'm on another level right now. And Northwood University, with only 5 seconds left, have to make something happen here. They have Duplicate and Minefield.
Lethal still harassing. Can they even touch it? They do get it to the overtime, but Lethal's still going to be a body to block and draw attention away. Both the Valkyrie and the Amplification Matrix. Dynasty gets a pickup, though, onto Soames, so that is a big opportunity, but the Valkyrie should still be able to compensate, and a res comes out as well, and you will have Harrisburg able to hold once again here. They only just need to reduce the last few that remain around the payload. They will be able to hold this before this completion as something miraculous happens, but it won't.
I mean, that was convincing from Harrisburg University, specifically, again, from the DPS. Like, we talked about Tap yesterday and Lethal, was when they're given resources to just frag, they frag to an nth degree, and I think that that was a complete domination from the DPS specifically. I think Retna also, this is a great position for them, giving them the Mercy, just saying, look, we need you to just stay alive and stay on Tap, and we'll go to the promised land that way. I think this is a great decision from them. And on the other side, from Northwood University, we're seeing a little bit about what Lethal said yesterday in our interview, where it's like, if we lose, it's going to be comp diff. And this is a bit where Northwood has some cracks in their gameplay, is this composition specifically, because it's not as clean, it's not as coordinated as something like their double shield, which is potentially the best that we have in Collegiate, you know, beyond maybe Maryville, who won on the composition yesterday, but it's still extremely good, and you can see on the defensive end, they're going to be going back towards their bread and butter.
And they have to at this point. It is going to have to be a hold for a lifetime on this to be able to take this second map on their way through this lower bracket, because they cannot go home. And as you commented, because this is such a formidable structure for them, it is going to be substantially. Why are you stop enabling him? Why are you just... Thank you. We'll conclude it there. You know what? That's all that needs to be said,
And I like what Northwood University is doing on this defensive end here, is I think that they are making a good decision going back to the double shield, putting Boat on that Casti, being able to pressure the Echo and the Mercy in the sky, and they don't necessarily need to kill them. They just need to basically tell Tap and tell Retna that you can't be in the air because I'm going to pressure you, and you can't just play freely. You need to respect the damage I'm going to be putting out.
And Tap, we have such a focus onto them to see if they are able to break down these shields. The damage has to be there to eliminate this defensive hold and continue to outmatch Dynasty, who has not opted to go onto this Echo play as well, with Akawa looking for a back position to try and find an opportunity to disrupt.
Oh, he's going to be going for the slam from the top. Here comes.
Big stun onto 3. does also proc the shield, and that gives agency now for Harrisburg to aggress forward, regrouping to the side, looking for another backline position. Lethal gets a big pick onto Boat, and that could just be the opportunity, but Landon is able to recover and give assistance to Northwood defensively to withstand this push into the first point, and this is just a bloodbath between the two. Healers are just doing their job to the peak of their performance.
And Matrix is available for Landon if they need to use it and win this fight quickly, but Tap is getting so low, and again, these halts are doing such a good job of making sure Tap is stuck to the ground a little bit, and here comes the Matrix from both teams.
Rounding the corner, seeing if anyone's going to step into it. The Pulse Bomb gets rid of Tap, and Akawa falls alongside. That will be a hold, and two support ultimates committed into this, and the res to get Tap potentially to recover in this.
Northwood University looking very healthy at the current moment. You're right, 2 support ultimates were committed, but Tap is coming back in with this duplicate, and you've got a Sigma on the other side, and that's probably the juiciest target you can get if you are an Echo who wants to duplicate.
As they look around this corner, nearing that duplicate, and if it will actually be Cowman as the target. Both playing so close to that left side of the center pillar, mitigating so much of those sticky bombs with the shields, and Harrisburg now. Oh no, Dynasty gets the pickup onto Lethal. That is so significant. The duplicate comes through. Will it gain value? Kinetic Grasp has to mitigate the incoming damage, but they are near a flux of their own. And doesn't have the Immortality Field from Northwood to recover from it since it was used early. The Kinetic Grasp is not going to be there again as an accretion comes from up top. One eliminated Calman down, but Northwood still holding strong.
I mean, the Supercharger has been committed from seasons. It gets blown away immediately, potentially just trying to buy back into that fight, but Tap is on a rampage right now.
Tap again, stepping up and putting on a performance. This map is absolutely their map to be on, and this minefield to counter to make sure that nobody can touch this point to secure this payload position. 3 minutes and 42 seconds. What a show from Tap.
And Northwood bought a lot into that fight. The support ultimates went there as well. I mean, in a fight that was very scary, as Yumitra's going to take down Lethal, but these are just stagger kills that won't matter too much. This is, well, I mean, if the kills are going to come in from other places as well, this is actually a point where Northwood University completely flipped that. They had no business winning that fight.
And now you put Harrisburg in a really challenging position because it's just that main doorway and potentially that small corridor to the right. Lethal eliminates Dynasty, though, so that does remove some of the harassment. The D-Mech onto the mech is going to also be very helpful so that Northwood has to draw back now.
Yeah, but have Northwood gone a little bit too far? There's a nice immortality field there from Landon to keep them alive, but now they're in a closed area against an Echo who is melting them.
When especially their health values are below that 50%, you are just going to be sent to the grave. Tap finds Boat and gets a sticky onto Dynasty for Akawa to pile drive them into their tomb. 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and they are looking to finalize this last push.
I mean, Landon's still here, and Landon's doing so much right now on this Baptiste, able to take some kills. Forces out Valkyrie as well. Rally committed from Yumitra. They want to keep fighting this.
They're just going to, again, draw down the time. They've got the distance to do so. It's still a decent way forward, as even Lethal goes for a wave and just looks to keep this engagement underway. Up top, looks to get both before the Deadeye, but Divio goes down, just trading consistently to dwindle this time bank.
Tap takes down Dynasty. I mean, these kills are back and forth with Rednet not here, though. Tap has to use the duplicate onto the Cassidy. That's almost worst case scenario. And Northwood are still here, still fighting, taking time off the clock, and still winning somehow.
What a hold from Northwood. They are being able to pull off quite a feat right now. Dragon Strike into Seasons. The Immortality Field has to come through with the Amplification Matrix. I think they would have liked to hold on to it.
How good is Landon, man?
Oh my goodness. This is just unbelievable what Northwood has been able to do and just continue to hold.
I mean, the supports have played absolutely out of their mind so far. Between Landon, between Yumitra, using their ultimates effectively, healing the rest of the team so that they're not dying. Immortality fields have been perfect. Lethal gets taken down by a remech, and this clock that Harrisburg had is just completely getting dwindled down.
Yep. Reducing ever so slightly, each second continuing to grow a level of intensity for Harrisburg, and they find themselves in a challenging position. Dynasty lurking in the back, waiting to find...
Tap Landon's so good.
Landon and both of them have hyper focus onto Tap.
I mean, Landon just 3-taps him right there, and this is a problem right now for Harrisburg University, Rich. They only have a minute left, and they're walking into Supercharger and Pulse Bomb, and Harrisburg have zilch to work with right now. The closest ultimate they're going to be able to get is that Matrix from Soames, and they need it to push Northwood away.
And if it can come up fast enough and find just the right angle, it will be enough to turn this around. But that supercharger beautifully nested in the corner, so nobody can get it, and they have to overcommit. Divio goes down to get it, but they lose a lot in exchange.
And there's only 30 seconds left. Landon takes down Soames. And I mean, this is just... It feels like this fight has lasted forever, and both the supports are not here anymore for Harrisburg University. And the aggressive, high-tempo play that Northwood is playing with right now, Harrisburg is just not up to snuff with it at the current moment.
It's a scrap fest. They are just absolutely putting everything they have into this to draw it out, and now there's only 10 seconds left. This is the vital moment for Harrisburg to take advantage of the ultimate economy that they have. Akawa's going to look for that backline position as they round the outside, nearing to boat. Dragon Strike to lead by Lethal to divide and conquer, but this High Noon will keep most of Harrisburg back. Doesn't get the pickup, and a rally and amplification matrix comes out from Northwood. Defensively, they have the prowess, they have the wall. They are going to build a absolutely indestructible position for Harrisburg to come through. Boat is left alone to do everything imaginable for this team. The flashbang is mitigated, though, by that defense matrix, getting assistance from the Cowman up front. And overtime will be able to reduce. This is now Northwood showing how their double shield composition and their defensive holding capabilities are one to really, really come against.
I mean, this has been an absolute masterclass of a defense from Northwood University. And the thing, as they take this map, the thing that I really love about this is the fact that they played the first defense, or the first offense, and they're like, look, we're going to opt in to the, ball mirror. We're going to be playing the same mirrors. Tap is going to be on Echo. We're going to put Dynasty on Echo. And they got bodied. Like, the first defense for Northwood was pretty, or first offense for Northwood was pretty subpar. And then they decide, we're going to play by our own rules. We're going to do our own thing. And that's exactly what I think Northwood is the best at, is when they do their own thing, because you put Boat on Cassidy. Perfect decision. Dynasty goes back to Tracer. You go back to your more of a stalwart, like Orisa Diva composition. And it works complete wonders for them. When this team plays to their strengths, it doesn't matter about conf dip. They're just diffing people. And I think Boat had, Landon had a fantastic performance on Baptiste. I think that I don't remember someone clutching out a fight as much as Landon and Yamitra clutched out fights since, Shu and Gauntlet, against Chengdu on Havana. It was an unreal performance from the entirety of Northwood after a, again, pretty subpar offense. That defense was immaculate.
And with what we've seen, it is now a match point position for Northwood to be able to climb their way out of the position that they are in to face off their adversary once more. But Harrisburg still has a chance to be able to get a reverse sweep. We've seen some wonders before, and we will see if that is a wonder for them to be able to turn it, as we will head to a short break before we get that next map underway. Did you miss last week, gamers? Don't worry, we've got you covered with some highlights from last weekend.
Starting things off, we've got Collusion Maryville University with a flick you weren't expecting.
They're so strategic, and it's just a well-oiled machine right now. Eiko now looking for the back.
Oh, he's so good, man.
To follow up, we have Valentine from SCAD cleaning up in multiple areas on the map of Blizzard World. But as I say that, the aggression forward, Grandview gets overrun, and their health values are so low, and now Valentine just has free farm onto those in the back line.
You see a replay of this pulse bomb from Valentine. Nice stick, and the shield just not enough. I mean, credit. In our next spot, Cowman rocks Inferno's world during a gravitic flux.
Nice body block, preventing anyone from getting it eliminated. The flux now available. Immortality field has to be taken. Oh my goodness!
The Burger Bandit, Cowman himself. I mean, unreal rock there. If that gravitic flux goes through from Infernal, that fight could look completely different, but it's...
For our second to last play, we have Light demonstrating impeccable Doomfist play from UCI. There's still a stack full of ultimates, though, here for UCI. Playing this close high ground, Light comes in again. They know just repeatedly how to utilize this Doomfist play, and it is yielding so much value.
In our final play, Fated's Miracle 2 HP hold on Havana. I don't know if they can win, though.
It's a good idea, but they're actually getting this. Faded has no health. Bay State has actually brought so much to UCI.
I cannot believe that.
I don't even know what to say. And if you thought these plays were great, keep sticking around so you can see more collegiate action. We welcome you back, friends, as we have already seen Northwood be able to have 2 stellar rounds. I mean, to be fair, both of those maps were unbelievable, and their defense, as we highlighted on multiple occasions, was impregnable. I mean, unbelievable in how they've performed. And now we're entering into our 3rd map, Kenobi. Oh my.
I mean, I felt like it was like a 3-minute defense that just like never ended. Right?
Yeah.
Where it was just like, it just kept going and going and going, and they would just like cycle their ultimates so effectively, and Harrisburg couldn't really find a foothold after the switches and adaptations that Northwood made, and that's something that I think Northwood is actually very good at as well, is the ability for them to make those adaptations on the fly. I think they're very smart in terms of when they want to switch, when they know something is not working, and they did exactly that on their defense, and it gave them that 2-1 victory on Eichenwalde. As we go to Dorado as our next map, which is again another Harrisburg pick. This is a map where double shield can work, but also I think the ball compositions that Harrisburg University have been tending towards work really well. You have a lot of good options for Akawa to get some good engages in. You can see that Akawa very much knows from that Eichenwalde the limits and breakpoints of something like Hammond and where these engages can come from. So it's something that Northwood will have to respect in this match.
And Northwood has opted to take the aggression first. They will be on the attack with now Harrisburg on the defense, and extremely excited to see what Harrisburg will bring out defensively, compositionally, and seeing if, you know, they're going to have potentially even this Ash worked in. There it is. Lethal going to select it, because this is also a very optimistic map to have success with it.
That Tap Baptiste was pretty crazy.
I'm so glad that you thought that, because in that moment, even I thought Tap and Baptiste, and you're on the same wavelength with me, friend.
No problem. So Harrisburg University on this defense, again, running the ball composition, which is expected for a team like this. Lethal is going to be on the Ash. We saw yesterday what Lethal could do on Kings Row with a lot of resources in their back pocket. Tap as well, going back to the Echo. And this is where I would expect Northwood University potentially to make some changes, right? I think putting Boat on the Cassidy is good. He's able to pressure Tap in the air, who was a problem. The difference is that this time you have another problem with Lethal as a long-range damage dealer on the Ash, and you have to, again, respect the damage that Tap and Lethal are going to be putting out. But Burger Bandit actually just hooks Lethal immediately, and you are not in a reserve position, my guy. That's a fight win for
Cowman comes out the gate with a curveball and just gets a full-on strike with that hook, just making Lethal regret their push and their positioning. With Dynasty now free to basically do what they want, because Tap's the only one that they really have to work with, but still being harassed by Boat. Dynasty with the Hoaxing Beam as well just dislodges all of Harrisburg from this high ground.
And I mean, this is, again, one of the best things about Northwood University. No one expects the compositions they're going to run. Cowman is just an absolute monster right now on this Roadhog. We don't see teams run this composition, Rich. We see, I mean, Bellevue is like the one team that was able to make Roadhog work, but no one expects in moments like this, in a chance to get yourself to the grand final, that you're just going to be bringing out a pulled pork composition with the Roadhog and with the Orisa. No one expects that, and that's going to be a first point take for Northwood here.
Targeting system right now with Northwood. They know exactly how to coordinate themselves to be successful, and at this point, Harrisburg really has to acknowledge that they need to make some either kind of changes or watch their positioning to not have that happen.
Northwood University have a lot to work with here. Here comes the M-Matrix on high ground. Landon is able to take out Tap, but Lethal takes out Dynasty in the end. Is the resurrection going to be there from Yamitra? We'll have to see if it's in that position. Doesn't look like it is just yet, but actually you can see Yamitra going for it.
Goes in with the Valkyrie to get it just in time before they come back from the spawn, wanting to at least make sure that they get everyone topped up before pushing, as this high ground is still obtained by Lethal. Bob comes out, that extra player to keep oh no, it's actually out of the range. It doesn't cause contention, so the payload can still continue to move.
Landon is able to use that Immortality Field to keep the team alive from the burst from the Echo, but is that going to be enough to sustain? The duplicate actually has to be committed from Dynasty onto the Hammond just to live.
And with that, Duplicate also having the Discord instantly tossed on top of them makes them a little bit more of a priority target, but getting massive value in the back. Minefield a little bit away from the rest of the action, and you have finally, once Harrisburg getting a couple of picks and Tap coming in to take down their counterpart, and you know, it's this back and forth, but it's finally held its position.
And that would be a position where I think potentially Cowman's going to switch off of this Roadhog and go to something like a D.Va or a... Yeah, so D.Va's the good choice here because I think you need some of that vertical mobility to basically get yourself onto those high ground positions and not just let Lethal continuously free fire onto you from on high. You have to get away for Cowman to get up there and secure that high ground away from the enemy team.
Ooh, nice halt, but does not manage to get the pickup onto Lethal, who is a real target that they have to recognize and how much value they can bring. Also, already near almost another bomb to use with the combination of tap and the duplicate. Cowman in the back, though, has to look to try and get back into this mech.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard as well because you step out of line once even as a D.Va, you just get annihilated and Dynasty gets taken out by Tap. And with this open area that we have right now, it's going to be a lot easier for Tap and for Lethal to get a lot of value with these long-range hit scan. Both potentially might have to start thinking about matching Lethal on the Ashe or on some other sort of long-range hit scan.
And Northwood in this open space is just looking for a plan of action. They're attempting to move through on this high ground to compete against it with their composition. Supercharger even committed into this to try and take down and remove. Oh, gets the pick before the Transcendence, which is so valuable, but Retina has the res. Back and forth up top between takedowns as Northwood finally is able to get overwhelmed. Harrisburg prevails, self-destruct tossed in just behind, and once again claims this fight.
I mean, Boat and Cowman are trying to do the best they can here, but it's not going to matter. And I think with Boat using that high noon, I think this is where they're going to start switching over to maybe something like a Hanzo, something a little bit more long range that they can work with here. I mean, sticking on the Cassidy is fine. So it's going to be the Tracer, which I think is also a good decision because this way you can just get into that back line. Soames is very vulnerable. So is Akawa, especially if he has something like a Discord Orb planted on him. You can take down this Hammond very easily. And you can see Lethal is even going to switch themselves, knowing that they have to be able to check Boat in some way.
And that's great reactiveness to know that you're going to be going into it and have it here online so that this TVT can continue between the two of them, though needs to be super cautious because, again, that Discord Orb has been either on Lethal or Akawa, and Akawa now is the prime focus since it's been tossed onto them with the shield still active up top. Harrisburg in a position to still continue to draw back Northwood, pick them up, great accretion, stuns them down below, and gets the DMAC.
The kills are going back and forth. So Landon is committing Transcendence to this, Rich.
And with the Transcendence committed, it could give them an opportunity to find value in a return engagement, but Cowman is still far enough back, and Divio has drawn also on this high ground position away to see if this re-engagement is actually worthwhile. Northwood still not in the best of places as the duplicate comes through onto the Sigma, gets a great accretion onto Divio, but there is so much damage they won't get to the Flux.
I mean, not having the Flux is huge. Their Dynasty's ult gets no value, but Retina is down. That's a lot of healing lost for Harrisburg.
Oh my, Northwood able to get those critical picks, and you lose that support, and now only Soames is here to buy time as they just barely get into sightlines to give any sort of damage and healing to assist. Northwood work their way to this next checkpoint with 2:30 for the final stretch.
I mean, these fights are so scrappy and so back and forth. They're on a knife's edge, and they feel like they can be changed just barely between like one pick going another way for a certain team. But Northwood University are able to take second point, start moving through third here with a composition that, again, we think that is not their best composition, but they're making it work here on this map, specifically with Boat and with Dynasty having some great plays between themselves against two of the best DPS we have in Collegiate Overwatch.
And Dynasty can get a lot of value with those sticky bombs in those small rooms because multiple members are close together. Attempt to get the takedown onto their counterpart, can't seem to do so, but the focusing beam eliminates Cowman, and Northwood have to be real careful in how they aggress forward into this since they've lost that defense matrix.
And I mean, you can see how many people are looking at Lethal. They have to take 3 people on Northwood University side just to be able to counter Lethal's lethality that he has in that backline. There's the pulse bomb from Lethal onto Landon. That's a fight lost for Northwood University. Then they cannot continue into this one. They're going to have to retreat.
Yeah, and there's more time just taken away on the clock, and there's still a decent distance to cover.
I mean, so much. And only a minute and 30 seconds left. That's all they're going to have. This is probably the last ultimation that Northwood University is going to get here. They're only going to have these last couple of ultimates. Dynasty getting close towards the Tap on the other side has one of their own, and those support ultimates from Harrisburg are going to be a big deal in this next fight because Northwood don't have any of them.
Yep, Yamitra and Boat really have to step up now to try and shut down Lethal, and the value that they have brought into these engagements. Rally active for Harrisburg to generate the armor onto the back line. Actually, Transcendence committed as well, both entering into this as a self-destruct comes through from Cowman, but can't get anything. Health is just maintained as Tap goes in for a duplicate of their own. Self-destruct, lightning fast generation up front is tossed. actually gets a clip onto Dynasty. Akawa then finds also Cowman. This is just once again another structured hold from Harrisburg.
I mean, this duplicate from Tap did wonders for Harrisburg University there, and there's only 30 seconds left here, Rich Boat. Solo is able to escape with their life. That would have been a very big pickup. They would have been able to take them out. Tap, very low as well, doesn't get taken out. These inches, these pixels are all the difference here, and Northwood University coming back in. They have the support ultimate advantage this time. They also have duplicate from Dynasty. They might have the advantage to brute force their way into a point cap.
As we keep a watchful eye onto where Dynasty focuses, they go for the Diva and harass up top, going right onto Soames, but Soames is getting covered. The crowd control is there from Retna as we take this wide view of the spectrum, going to see
Landon's
that Tap
dead.
takes Landon. Yamitra doesn't get the rally in time. There is no Transcendence available. Northwood on this attack might just have found a terrible end to their push, but they're still fighting for their lives as Yamitra now with the rally gives armor for themselves and vote to try and harass to shut down Tap and Lethal, who by the way are still on a tear with this focusing beam to bring the health low, but Season survives with the shield. Can they come back to recontest? Lethal getting the follow through, and Transcendence from Landon is there to support.
Oh, there's the pulse bomb. It actually hits the Transcending Zen, so it gets no value whatsoever.
Oh no, but they don't get
C9'd.
onto it. They don't get back to it fast enough. Dynasty isn't able to touch. And you have this lack of completion here that could be the deciding factor for Harrisburg to be able to gain this map point.
That's heartbreaking for Northwood that they weren't able to get back onto that one. I mean, that was so close for them, but only that 68.14 meters all the way, basically halfway towards completion on that third point. And this is it's a winnable scenario completely here for Harrisburg University. Again, a gutsy defense coming out from them. Specifically, Lethal and Tap absolutely went bonkers that map. I think this is also a really great place for Akawa to do a lot on the Hammond. There are a lot of times it has been 0 days since the last C9. That is absolutely true. Thank you, Lower Third Production.
We only state nothing but facts for you viewers. That's all we do. And our production is always on top of it for moments like that. As we now look at the defensive structure for Northwood. And nothing of surprise here, Kenobi. I mean, I'm actually a little surprised that we're not going to see the double shield now that I look at it.
I mean, this is still like very much a spammy Northwood type of composition, right? And you want Diva on a map like this rather than Sigma a lot of the times because, again, Diva is important to A, contest Tap in the air, as well as B, eat some of the spam, and then C, for the vertical mobility. Those are like kind of why you would want Diva on a map like this. I think it's, you can play Sigma here, but Diva is really the thing that I think on this map in particular really has an advantage, as Harrisburg University not going to switch much up for them, keeping Lethal and Tap on their key picks right here. Tap was a menace, and now he's going to be going up against Dynasty again in the air, and we'll see what that battle is going to look like, because it's been back and forth, but I think Tap has had most of the advantage throughout.
Just ever so slightly, I would agree that it is in their favor when they continue to find this value and these picks. Sticky bombs lobbed into the back, getting still some significant damage for this, climbing towards that duplicate very quickly and breaking down these shields.
Yeah, I mean, it's only one shield as well for Northwood University. They don't have a lot to work with, so it's really off the back of just rotating the shields effectively with the defense matrix, but there's only so much the defense matrix and shield can do against that, as you can already see Tap very ahead in terms of ultimate charge, getting a lot more value with the sticky bombs, as here comes an engagement from Akawa.
Regrouping in the back, you can see both the, combination of basically three. It's a 3-3 prong right now, flanking in this back position. The two-prong attack, though, is punished. Boat gets a pickup onto Lethal, and there is going to have to be a lot on Tap's shoulders to try and turn this around, with Divio collapsing in and actually getting rid of Seasons.
I mean, without Seasons here, it's going to be very difficult, but with Retina going down, that means Tap does not have a pocket anymore, so the DPS of Northwood University can take down Tap, who is a little bit more vulnerable here.
Stonewalling quite a bit, as we see time and time again. Northwood is just doing such a great job and already has almost dwindled down the 2-minute time bank.
I mean, 2.5 minutes is all that's left for Harrisburg University here. Tap is coming back in onto that duplicate, so that's going to be a little bit of an advantage that he has in this next fight. Ant Matrix is available for both teams at the current moment. It will be very good for Harrisburg to have this, because they can basically move the Orisa out of the way and then create that space for themselves to push forward, and that shield's going to melt immediately.
And with Tap now moving forward, looking to get some decent damage, has the duplicate, waits to see what their target is. Beautiful focusing beam. Both Dynasty and Boat are down, so the damage dealers have been just completely eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, really love the idea of the amplification matrix there. They just basically put it down to make sure they get space, and a lot of commitments here from Harrisburg University, but this is already a fight win for them. They will be able to push forward, and Northwood University actually committing back onto this a little bit.
Yeah, Tap, though, going to still be able to reign supreme in the back line, just taking down one after another as the minute and 40 seconds will be able to balloon to a much more formidable time of 4 minutes going into this next segment.
4 minutes is what they're going to have. Tap is still wrecking havoc wherever they go at the current moment, and Northwood University coming back into this do have some ultimates to work with, but Harrisburg University have a lot in their own bank. They're both at their tank ultimates again. Divio is going to be huge here to throw that self-destruct out, create space, make Dynasty a little bit more vulnerable, because one of the things Dynasty doesn't have with this composition, doesn't have that type of pocket where it's like on-demand healing and on-demand damage boost that Dynasty has, so it's not really an even fight between Tap and between Dynasty.
As you see, these ultimates start to stack for Northwood defensively. They need to try and rotate these out. So you have a lot of damage coming in on that balcony position, and again, Tap still free to do what they want. Dynasty has to be so close to landed because of that assistant healing that you commented on, and now with a Deadeye active, looking for an angle from Northwood, gets two, and that's a big window.
Really, really huge window right there. And I mean, as well as on top of that, Landon with a perfect immortality field, because that engagement from Akawa was absolutely nuts. Like, he got so much value, and if that immortality field isn't there, that fight looks completely different, as you're gonna be able to see both. I mean, 23 health literally goes down so low, but it's that immortality field that keeps him alive, and Northwood University stemmed the bleeding a little bit. 2.5 minutes about left for Harrisburg University here, Rich, and they don't have a lot to work with anymore. They're gonna have a Bob, yes, to make this a 7v6 at one point, and a self-destruct, but beyond that, they're walking into a duplicate and a supercharger. That's never a good sign for Harrisburg University's composition.
And Tap, the moment that they're peeking this corner, is just being instantly punished. Now, Amplification Matrix lethal, and Tap can't even sit in the sightline. Akawa goes down, and Landon has really been able to fill this unique void that Retna has filled for Tap. Despite them not being able to couple with them, this synergy between Landon and Dynasty is impeccable.
I mean, this fight is still going on. Tap is trying to just poke out and get some damage done, but again, has to respect some of the damage coming in from Northwood University. Cannot play as aggressive, especially if Retna is attached to him and Retna goes down.
Now, needing to pay mind, though, to where the payload is, since they played the opposing position. Oh my, Dynasty comes in. When you don't have your pocket, Dynasty says you're mine. And now duplicates onto this Diva down below, reducing health values, but the Immortality Field buys quite a bit of time here for Harrisburg to sustain and potentially retreat, but not for Lethal nor Soames. And
now only 1 minute and 30 seconds left. The self-destruct going to be thrown out here. Won't most likely find anything, but the damage has already been done. And Harrisburg University, 1 minute and 30 seconds, Rich. That's all that they have left, and they're down 0-2. This is their last chance right here, and the ultimates that they have, they're very close to basically a 6-pack of ultimates, so they're going to have to brute force their way onto this high ground, use those ultimates to create that space, and get themselves to that second chance if they want to stay alive in this loser's bracket run.
Oh, right there at the end of it, looking to potentially get this Deadeye as they press out into the open. Amplification Matrix, self-destruct, everything of these ultimates being lobbed in to try and just hinder their aggression up to this high ground. As you say, they have to dislodge Northwood from Valkyrie. Up and running to fuel the healing. Flashbang goes wide. Nakawa doesn't go down.
Bro does not get Retna. That's huge. Retna's alive.
Retna being alive is going to potentially be a devastating outcome here for Northwood. Harrisburg still has a monumental feat ahead of them to remove this high ground position with 35 seconds. They're slow playing this. They're looking for a flank, though. Tap on the backside, finding maybe an opportunity, but Boat is responding to it, and so is Dynasty sticking close.
Well, Boat knows where Tap is actually at the current moment. Tap needs to find a way to get this duplicate out in time. Here comes the Bob.
Bob on the high ground puts a little bit more of a dampening onto this position, so they have to retreat out of it. Dynasty goes down. Bob finds the damage. Big Omnic Butler coming in big to give the assistance as a drawback happens. Northwood down below. They still get value. Divio is down before the remake. Tap doing wonders once again to try and sustain through this, as it is their do or die moment before they have a chance of being knocked out. But you've got Harrisburg clutching it out. Tap gets value. They collapse onto those scattered members of Northwood and will be able to reach this. Well, never mind.
Landon's still alive in the back line. Landon's still alive. He's just healing the teams on the cart. No one's getting Landon.
Keeping them sustained, and now Boat is able to close the gap with a Tracer from the spawn position. Dynasty has the duplicate coming in with the Wrecking Ball position for the pile drive. They have completely dampened any hope of Harrisburg touching this, and they come out in the fraction of seconds to take this 3-0. Northwood is moving on to face Maryville once again.
Northwood want that salty run back against Maryville. They want to get to that grand finals. And again, for the second year in a row here, we will be seeing a Northwood versus Maryville grand finals. Harrisburg University, unfortunately for them, will be bowing out of this tournament, but a great performance from them all the way through. And man, do they have some stars on their team as well. Lethal, Tap, I think Soames played incredible. Akawa's ball was phenomenal. And I think that this team is still incredibly strong, but Northwood is just on another level right now. They want Maryville, and specifically Landon at the end of that absolutely clutched it out from that high ground. No one was touching him, just throwing nades onto the cart, and that was just the way Northwood get to that grand finals.
It is exciting from the top of the broadcast, friends, and there is still so much, especially if Northwood is able to take down Maryville, because there is that bracket reset so that we could see potentially a distance, and I mean, I was going to say maximum, but there is that chance of even more than 15 maps, but we'll leave that as it is as we take a look now at that schedule. This is what we have in front of you for the rest of the broadcast. It will be Maryville University against Northwood University. Northwood scratching and clawing their way back from this losers bracket to compete against Northwood, or against Maryville. And friend, this is the best thing we could ask for. There's no other way I would have want this story
after
to be
yesterday, when I said yesterday on Twitter, I would like to request multiple Maryville University versus Northwood University best of fives. So we're getting our second one, potentially could have a third one in the grand finals. This is like the best option we could have had, because I think looking at yesterday, looking at the way the bracket has turned out, and this matchup between Northwood and Maryville is the best matchup. These are the two best teams that we have in Collegiate, and we are set for an absolute banger of a grand finals.
And with that said, we will head to a short break, hear a lovely word from Yamitra, who we will be talking with from Northwood, and then we will get to that main event underway. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be seeing you in just a moment. Hey gamers, while we're on break, let's take a look at some of this season's previous highlights. We start off with Harrisburg University on Kings Row going up against William and Mary University. Akawa's Echo play found great value spamming damage onto William and Mary, leading to lightning-fast ultimate charges. Despite their attempt to heal up and fortify with a sound barrier for their next engagement, Akawa fixated on max FTW to bring their own Reinhardt into the mix, dropping from the top rope to get a stellar pin onto the Baptiste, which was immediately followed up by not just one Earth Shatter, but a second in quick succession to be the necessary insurance policy for this first fight, and more importantly, an influencer to aid Harrisburg in their series win.
Hey guys, this is Kenobi, and I'll be taking you through our second play today, which comes from Illinois State University, and specifically their Hanzo master, Eiko. Eiko refuses to give the enemy team a single inch as they're coming out of spawn, and with some clever dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodging, they manage to score themselves a 4K, completely obliterating the enemy team before they can even make it out of spawn. And look at this last shot. Absolute perfection.
For our last play, we find Maryville University also on Oasis facing off against Illinois Esports Black. Maryville comes out the gate with a swiftness from Haley's Lucio pick, but a boost of speed isn't the only thing Haley brings to the map of University, as they find a sneaky flank position just behind enemy lines at the high ground staircase, booping 2 off the edge for some playtime in the water below, and ensuring that Maryville can easily figure skate their way to a victory. Make sure to stick around for some more collegiate action. Hello, my friends. We have seen quite a show so far already. A 3-0 scoreline here for Northwood over Harrisburg, moving on to go once again against Maryville. But before we get that underway, we have the amazing pleasure to speak to you, Mitra. My friend, how are you feeling after that one going into the top of the broadcast?
Honestly, I'm feeling pretty great. It's those 3 maps were like really hyped as heck to play.
I mean, it from our perspective, it was really hyped too. I kind of want you to take me through a little bit, you as a player, kind of going through the bracket as like Northwood University. You guys, had this, I would say, people would say it was an upset against Harrisburg University at the start. And then you kind of went against this like huge Maryville matchup. So like, how did you guys from that matchup yesterday, that was like ruling, I imagine, based on what we heard from the Maryville University, how'd you go from that matchup into today mentally?
So it's more of like, we as a team, to give some context, as a team we were like not playing really well the first couple of weeks, but like as a team we kind of like just face up like, okay guys, we want to win national championship, we gotta like fix all the problems immediately. So like even though like in scrims we were like not necessarily playing well against Bay State, we changed completely 180 when we were at like the actual tournaments, matches and stuff. We came together as a team, and that's like really good. Really happy about what we did.
And when you talk about, coming together, fixing the problems, little things here and there, because you're such a long-run team that we've seen competitively, and we know that you have such a well-rounded fundamental understanding of this, what are some of those really almost nitpicky things that you as a team recognize and know that you have to just refine?
Sometimes, like, one of the things that we had a really big problem is that we always try to, like, argue mid-fight, like, what's the right call, but, like, it's fine to, like, that we screw up sometimes. We just gotta play next all the time. We fix that really quickly, and now, like, every map that we finish, we always, like, check what we need to do next, rather than, like, complaining and arguing all the time. That's, like, a really good thing that we fixed.
So do you guys have a dedicated shot caller, or do you kind of do it by committee?
I mean, LAN is probably the main shot caller. I mean, everyone really, like, calls, but, like, LAN is, like, if there's anyone that calls mainly, it's probably LAN.
I mean, we could tell by just some of the unbelievable play that we see from Landon kind of being that real put your foot down kind of person. I mean, we even saw in Eichenwalde the amount of value that they brought. Like, tell me about that.
That was no. Okay, we thought that I could feel from the room that we felt like we were gonna lose, like straight up. But like, holy crap, that 8 held just made us. For me personally, I was pumped. Like, I didn't die. I actually lived.
I was like, you guys, I don't know what possessed you.
We killed their Echo and Tracer. Like,
yeah, I don't know what possessed you guys, but like that fight at the gate, like, were you guys just like, because that fight felt like it lasted for like a good 3 minutes, where you and Landon were kind of just like there, just absolutely going bonkers. Like, were you guys just like calling like, look, we can win, just keep fighting, keep fighting?
So initially no, but when we killed their Echo Tracer, we just realized, wait, we could just gate held them. It's not like we just immediately thought, okay, it's winnable. It's more like, oh my god, we killed their case with Tracer. Now it's winnable.
Well, it like presented it probably out of nowhere for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clutch moments like that. So, having your fellow support player with you in moments like that, is it something where you just kind of have this, because you're saying you're already like, oh my gosh, we actually got this, but are you actually in some moments really truly surprised yourself that that's the level of competitive nature that can just come out of nowhere from you as Northwood? Because we see that from you so often, time and time again.
It's more of like it's not that we're gonna lose. It's more of like we can't hold close, but like we got that opportunity to hold close. Is that what you mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So kind of talk to me a little bit about playing like with Landon, because Landon, like, I mean, obviously is kind of one of these players that's been touted very highly throughout the community, and you're playing alongside him now. How has that been for you? Because I know like you guys have this like pretty good synergy between you two, based on what I've seen throughout. Like, how is the kind of synergy between you grown throughout this tournament, throughout your time playing together?
A lot of tough love. So a lot of tough love. I mean, I take, like, Landon's like a really competitive person. So like when I screw up, he's gonna yell at me, but like I get better from it. So it's like it's a mixture of tough love because I want you to get better and I want him to be better, and I embrace that. I think,
but that's so important, though, I would think.
I agree, and also I would shout out Fosses. I was really bad the first week, but Fosses has been a really great coach for helping my break.
Big shout out. I mean, it shows. It shows. I mean, you have really been elevating yourself, and what we even saw towards the later portion of this, again, you come back in this map of escort, and just at the end of it all, just be able to turn it around and just going into this position, especially talk to us about the decision right before doors open with this Roadhog pick.
Oh, that was more of like, so we knew that for us, it felt like, it was like just do it, just go hog. I don't know what to tell, like we won alcohol, like a crazy hole, it was like, alright, let's go hog. Because like as D.Va, like, I'm not gonna do much on just like heal, right? But like, just go hog, just hook. That's like, I don't know.
So you guys are now going to be going into the grand finals against Maryville. You had that like incredibly tough series yesterday, like grueling 5 maps. Do you think that like after that series, you guys have gotten a little bit stronger, like you know where you can beat Maryville in these grand finals to reset that bracket?
Oh, definitely. Yesterday was a pretty heartbreaking loss. We're gonna come back strong, I think, and Harrisburg, it's clear that we're coming back strong now, and I'm really excited for the rematch.
So with that rematch, because you are in a position of where you not have to just beat Maryville once, but you have to beat them twice. What is helping you go through the fact that you have to play a possible best of 5 to be actually able to take this?
It's a
That's a direct big question for you, I know.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. This is, I think a big motivator is that this is probably the last Overwatch Collegiate 1 event, and we're gonna come out in a big explosion.
Okay.
This is all day Overwatch 1. That's the finale.
All right. Finale indeed. Explosion. We cannot wait to see the fireworks erupt overhead as you continue to fight your way against this team of Maryville. So we truly want to tell you thank you so very much for your time to be able to talk with us, and we love your energy and your excitement going into this, and we cannot wait to see that continue to fuel you through the games that we're going to be seeing ahead of us, my friend.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
Definitely.
Thank you.
And for those tuning in, we have finally arrived. We've got a short break before going into this, since we are allowing them to just have a moment, focus, structure what they have mentally going into this in Kenobi. I'm so pumped. So don't go anywhere, friends.
So good. I can't wait.
We'll be back shortly, friends. Hello, friends. It's another break, and we've got some more season highlights from the Overwatch Collegiate Championship Series. For our first play, we have Northwood University on Rialto against Converse University. Northwood starts us off with a great team synergy play with Seasons leading the charge that absolutely bamboozles Converse University, utilizing the Halt Window Rock Dynamite Equal Death combo. And as you can see, Chance and Still Kiwi are definitely feeling the burn. And, since we're talking about Northwood, it's time for Where's That Gamer? We heard that Northwood's player was away for spring break and had to play remotely, so we're asking you, gamers, where was Landon playing during the Week 3 Swiss stage match? Was it at a friend's house, sibling's room, local cafe, or in a van down by the river? So make sure to answer on Twitter using the hashtag OWCollegiate to see if you're a winner of a Rich Rat and Kenobi Gold Star. It's worth something, I swear. And now back to the highlights.
Hey there everyone, this is Kenobi here again to take you through the second play of the week, which comes to us from Kennesaw State University. You can see WOD setting up for a classic Nanoblade combo. With the enemy Ana going down, there's no more threat of a sleep dart to ruin their plans, and the Nano comes online, followed soon by the Dragon Blade. WODs slices and dices through the opposition, earning themselves a clean 4K, and a nice highlight to boot. One for the montage.
And for our final play, we have Kennesaw State University once again, but on Lijiang Tower Control Center. Kenobi was right when he said WODs gained a great clip for the montage reel, but Nitro Galaxy said I've got one better, landing a sneaky 6-player shatter, cleaving them down and lighting them up with a fire strike for a 5K, displaying their dominant nature and just how out of this galaxy their Reinhardt play is. Hope you enjoyed the plays, and make sure to stick around for more collegiate action. we return for the final moments of this amazing Overwatch Collegiate Championship Series, my friends. It is a time that we have all been waiting for, and we do get to see Northwood climb back into this to face off against an adversary that has been won in such history. And we could just take a look at this, and Kenobi, I mean, you can see there's the chat predictions down below. Make sure you give your predictions, because we're going to want to see it. And this matchup is going to be an absolute spectacle to see.
It's all led up to this between, the many teams that we started out, like at the start of the collegiate season, whittling that down to 16 here in the playoffs, to the final 2 teams that we have here in the grand finals. And you probably could have expected that it would be a tale as old as time, a song as old as rhyme, Maryville versus Northwood. That is the biggest rivalry we have in Collegiate, and it only makes sense that we get it in the grand finals to decide who will be the winner of our spring split.
And before we get into that game, we'll take one last opportunity to look at these rosters and see the players that have put on a performance that we could truly say is just amazing to watch and behold. We've already emphasized on multiple occasions, Boat and Dynasty, but what we can say after even the interview, the support line right now has been phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about these players to death and a lot since we've had Northwood a lot on this broadcast. I just want to say one thing. Landon for Owl, get this guy somewhere in a contract. He's way too good to not be, like, he is so good, and I think he's definitely deserving of a place in Overwatch League at some point, whether that be now, whether it be in the mid-season. This guy is someone to look out for in the future in Overwatch League.
And as we take a look, we've seen already once before, but now we get to look on the other side. 2 Titans looking at one another, and we see Maryville. They stack up with players that we've commented on. Iced being an MVP DPS, just coming out clutching moments as we've seen historically. The tank line between the 2, Cowman having miraculous plays that turn it around, and again, a support line that you cannot also just, set to the wayside.
Yeah, and I mean, this is already a team that does have an Overwatch League player on their roster in Kaluge, newly minted main tank for the San Francisco Shock, but there are other players who I think could definitely be in Overwatch League. Also a reminder that Haley, who was known by Halo, was in Overwatch League for a point. Luke Mino is someone who I think definitely has the potential to be in Overwatch League. Mikey on the Boston Uprising as well. Iced is someone who is one of, if not the best DPS that we have in this tournament, and Cyrus is a perfect partner for someone like Iced. I think this team from top to bottom is absolutely filled with stars. Same thing with Northwood, and that's why yesterday we had that absolutely unreal winners final best of 5, and we're getting another one here. But what we have to remember this time, Rich, is that should Northwood take it this time from the loser's side, they will be resetting the bracket and will be going to a second best of 5. So it could be an extremely long grand final series between these 2 teams.
Long road, a treacherous road, but one that I think Northwood is able to work their way through and be able to prevail, and only time will tell as we enter into this first best of 5. And after even having an opportunity early this morning, Mac wanted to touch base and talk quickly before going into it, knowing that they have this, monumental task ahead of them because of how close yesterday was, acknowledging that it was a day that they felt a little off. So going into this, hopefully they are able to feel a little bit more on their game and really taking a solid mental refresh from yesterday coming in, because Northwood right now, after that first game, I guarantee you their mental and their confidence is just absolutely overflowing.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of momentum, and because we talked about it even with Dimitri, yesterday was heartbreaking for Northwood, right, with how close they got, and now that they have this kind of win over Harrisburg, rather convincingly in a 3-0, momentum is all in their favor, and it's interesting because we have Northwood, our defending champions from Homecoming, and we have Maryville, who are defending champions from last year in the Overwatch Collegiate Championship. So Maryville going for a back-to-back title, which is something that I think not many teams, if any teams, have done throughout Collegiate Overwatch just yet. So, between these 2 teams, as we're going to our first map of Nepal, it is the best grand final we could have asked for, the closest one. I expect the chat predictions are going to be incredibly close because of the fact that these 2 teams are so close in power level. And Rich, we go to Nepal to start things out. It's all come down to this grand finals for the Overwatch Collegiate Championship.
And we start off on the same map as we've seen the whole weekend, as we do have those predictions coming through lightning fast in the chat. 20 seconds to go before the doors open and we see hell unleashed from both sides. Who will prevail? Well, we'll see if these compositions out the gate will be a defining factor for this first round.
And it is going to be double shield. This is something that we talked about yesterday, is the double shield matchup between both of these teams. And it looks like right off the bat, they're going to be opting into more of that mirrored style. One of the differences, though, is that Northwood is not opting for a Brigitte Baptiste. They're opting for more of the Mercy Baptiste option, which means that Dynasty is going to be able to have that pocket, so a lot of damage, a lot of pocket for Dynasty, but they don't have the Brig to potentially just get that AoE healing on the ground when these fights happen.
Dynamite comes out over top the shield as well, seeing if they can fuel an ultimate charge quick enough so that they are in a better position to compete later on when the ultimates are online. Still having presence is Maryville, forcing Northwood back. The res is there for Dynasty to be back online, and there was enough coverage up front to give room for Yamitra to get the res, but Boat eliminated. Iced in the back, dealing so much, and also Cyrus finding an angle.
And this is one of the scary things about Maryville's composition, is they just completely swarm over to you, and Northwood University don't really have the legs to stand on if these fights are completely devolved on the ground, because the Brigitte healing is just such a blanket of security for Maryville University to work with, and they can just rush you down. With Northwood's comp, you really just want to be continuously spamming, trying to get the echo towards that duplicate, but it doesn't matter if Maryville is not giving you that time to do so.
And if Maryville can continue to just claim dominance in these fights as early as they have, and Iced lighting up as we've seen, now having the pulse bomb, it's just going to be a challenge for Northwood to get back into this. 33% already obtained. You have Dynasty coming up with the duplicate to try and give some value. What a massive pulse to come out onto both tanks, but that makes sure that you can get Landon now to drop this amplification matrix to funnel damage through that corridor into the open space. Dynasty up front duplicating onto the Sigma. Pulse bomb comes out from both, making this a for sure turn for Northwood.
I mean, that was all seasons right there, with a halting people into that pulse bomb, and Northwood University come back with some clutch plays. Dynasty with the duplicate, creating a lot of space for the team. Maryville University have to reset here. Another thing that I loved is that Landon, so patient with the immortality field, knowing that he doesn't need to use it for the pulse bomb, can just heal up the tanks by his own healing and can save that immortality field for a more important part of the fight. Maryville University comes back into this, have a supercharger to work with, have a greater flux of their own. Northwood University not just there yet, but Maryville can go aggressive here.
Great haul to at least pull them up into the space, but the immortality field has been expended. Supercharger in that lower position, can't be harassed. Nice job. Early pickup coming out from Collegiate onto Seasons. Cyrus gets a follow-up, and this is just a locomotive that takes this position back.
Fantastic combo as well from Maryville University right there, knowing that they just get that gravitic flux down. The Ash Dynamite comes directly on top of it. The immortality field is not enough to secure them through all of that damage. Maryville University, 67% and ticking upwards here. They have another pulse bomb from Iced. He's been huge with them so far. And also for Northwood right now, you're walking in to Ant Matrix from Luke Mino, and Landon doesn't have theirs yet, so it's going to be so hard for Northwood University to sustain through any engagement. They have to use the supercharger to go aggressive.
Yep, and can it be enough now to be able to enter into this? They lob the pulse bomb, doesn't get anything. Would have been beautiful if it did, but now having to rotate back to the position, funneling damage up top through that small segment, and you actually have a takedown onto both. This is a now absolutely challenging position for Northwood to push in with only 5% to go. Bob tossed into the back, Rowley committed to give that extra fortification to maintain onto this position. Seasons eliminated by Bob in the flank, and now this is just falling apart for Northwood to push on this initial round. There is the cleanup by Collusion Iced, and this will be a round one for Maryville.
Round one goes to Maryville University here with a very clean double shield look coming out from them. Cyrus not really contested at all from this long-range hit scan place that they were. Dynasty was pressured out so much, not just by Cyrus, but by Iced as well. And the coordination from Maryville is just so impeccable. I love the fact that, like, every decision that Maryville makes seems like it's a call immediately from Mikey to say, we're doing this, we're going in. It's just so crisp and clean, like a well-oiled machine. Not that Northwood doesn't necessarily have that, but Maryville, when they make these aggressive pushes and just play at such a high tempo, Northwood University has a tendency to get run on.
And, you know, with Northwood being run on, the chat says that they are able to plant their heels into the ground and hopefully prevent this running. consistently by Maryville that's been dominant as these doors open again, but a little bit more of a rush composition now with this Maryville selection.
This is going full brawl right here, and I like this decision as well because you bring Iced out onto the Symmetra, and Symmetra does wonders against shields, and you just have so much space to work with to be able to create, and Northwood University, with Maryville rushing onto them, can't create a foothold. They have to create some sort of crossfire. Lucamino low has to force that Immortality field, which is a big deal.
Oh, but Dynasty already goes down because of the aggression from Maryville, and Cyrus barely gets the Cryo Freeze out in time to keep themselves sustained, so once again, Northwood just being overrun, and that crossfire isn't really coming out. They're left in this small room and just find themselves locked in, especially with Cyrus having this crowd control, freezing, slowing their tempo, and if they try to escape, they can't get away.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a hard position right now for Northwood University because now they're trying to recontest with Orisa, and Orisa, very slow at taking that space away, has to rely on shields. Here comes Ant Matrix, just make sure they can't get through this choke.
And a lot of low health values, though, on Maryville, and Lucamino goes down, so that is a big chance for Northwood to take advantage of this. Deluge gets hit by the rock and D-Mech shortly after. Northwood needs to claim this moment for them to actually swap it back, and they will do so, maneuvering onto this point, but there's still a big shield from Mikey underneath.
Yeah, without Burger Bandit as well, and Cowman's not here in this moment, but Dynasty is, and Dynasty takes down Ice. Kalu should be taken out as well, and that will finally flip over to Northwood University, and Maryville University have to make a decision here because now they're starting to walk into a setup of double shield from Northwood University, and with these tanks, it's going to be a bit of a tricky situation. Ice especially going off of the Symmetra, and now you don't have the teleport to work with, but Northwood is just playing back a little bit. You can see Dynasty is giving as much information to the team as they can, and this is actually really smart from Northwood University, going through this small room and not letting Northwood University just free fire on them all the time.
Yeah, and with this just well-rounded positioning, it's basically a ring around the rosy at this point until somebody finally pushes out into the open. Nice flux. Cyrus just mitigates it because they've got that Cryo Freeze in the back position. Now, with this elevated high ground gained by Maryville looking to play back, these shields aren't breaking down. Percentage still being gained by Northwood, but with Boat not there, it makes it so much more challenging for them to be able to re-enter in onto this. Focusing Beam does a lot of damage up close, and the rally is there, but a Blizzard gets tossed into this. They can't manage to eat it, and Luke Mino gets some great frontline damage in addition because they don't even need to worry about healing. They're just going to clean up the fight.
I mean, absolutely unreal patience as well from Cyrus, waiting for the Orisa Fortify to go down before throwing that out, so guaranteeing the fact they were going to be able to freeze that Orisa. And now, again, the shoe's on a bit of a tricky foot for Northwood University because they used the Supercharger. They used their duplicate to move forward. Boat has to go back to the Hanzo because you need a way to break this shield down and stop Maryville University again from just rushing onto you. And 57% is what Maryville has right now. 2 more fight wins and they're going to win this map. Oh, Dynasty gets taken so low, manages to survive.
And we'll see if the fact that they don't get that pickup is a defining factor going into this next engagement. A lot of sticky bombs onto the back. Ice has to stick so close to the supports. And really, at this point, with this Maywall, it's going to be challenging. They're severing away Seasons once again. They are divided from the team. The Immortality field is too far back, but Seasons able to get into it. And you've got Ice going down to Dynasty. That earlier exchange is going to be punished with Dynasty taking advantage of it, and now getting another onto Luke Mino.
And I'm really loving what Northwood University has adapted for right here. They're really abusing the fact that Maryville can't really counteract anything in terms of a crossfire. They're setting Boat and Dynasty on different parts of the map and saying, Maryville, you're just in one area by yourself. You can't realistically deal with the both of us unless Cyrus hits an icicle or Ice is able to take one down. They're basically throwing down the gauntlet and saying our DPS are going to be able to crossfire well enough to where we survive. But Maryville University comes back into this. They have a High Noon. They also have a Shadow to work with. That Blizzard is going to be incredibly important to deal with. Can Dynasty get a duplicate in time for this fight to break out?
Especially because there's only 6% left, so there's a lot riding on Dynasty's shoulders. Nice flux that comes up front, but the shield is still there to cover Ice so they don't get taken down. Boat eliminated from Cyrus, though, puts Northwood once again on the back foot as they will have to now rely solely on Dynasty with Boat regrouping on the team. Duplicate now comes onto the May to utilize a Blizzard of their own. Can that be the equalizer? The takedown on to Cowman, though, puts them even into a worse position, and now no longer having the Valkyrie, you will see Maryville able to take this and go so hard onto this final stretch, and they will take this second round, going up by 1 map in this best of 5.
Very scrappy for both of these teams, but we see Maryville, the thing about them, bringing out 2 different looks for them, bringing out something like that brawl composition that we saw on Sanctum, and also looking very good on the double shield. And I, again, really like how Northwood was playing and trying to adapt to that, but it feels like Maryville, once they get going and once they have the ultimate differential, they have that economy in their back pocket, it's almost nigh unstoppable to stop a team like Maryville right there. They know exactly where their win condition ultimates are supposed to be used and how they use them effectively to counteract anything Northwood University brings to the table.
And now we see how the mental changes for Northwood going into this first round, taking the lost 2 rounds, wasn't even able to take one away. And I can guarantee you that Mac, the Maryville manager, has a grin on their face, feeling confident after this first one, and even talking with them, knowing that this is their last semester before graduation, and really wanting this to be another moment for them to gain another accolade like this before their departure, and really, really proud of their team and what they have managed to do. And this is at least one step closer to gaining that type of pride that he knows that he has instilled amongst his players. And Kenobi, going into this next one, cannot wait to see what the map selection is for Northwood, because they've kind of, picked up these unique out of left field compositions to give a little bit of confusion to their opponent. And with how well Maryville played, it's a toss-up between do they take that risk, or do they go back to something they're just structured and strong with?
I think they probably go Blizzard World based on what we saw yesterday. Blizzard World is where they won their second map. I mean, this is kind of a little bit of the same thing that we saw yesterday, where it's like Maryville takes Nepal. Blizzard World will probably be next for Northwood University, because it is one of, if not the best maps where you can play double shield, and that's where Northwood thrives mostly. Maryville will mirror most likely because of the fact that we saw that yesterday as well. So calling back to what we saw yesterday, this is definitely Blizzard World. This is definitely double shield. That's what's going to be deciding in this matchup. And we saw yesterday, one of the things that really helped Northwood win this map was the clutchness specifically of Dynasty on the Tracer and on anything that they were being able to play. There were times where Dynasty would just pull fights out from literally nowhere and just off the brink, just clutch it out and say, we're going to win. There were times yesterday where I said the map was over. I said that 3 times during Blizzard World, and Northwood were able to claw and scratch their way back, and they're going to need that again going up against a Maryville University who look incredibly clean right now.
They will definitely be one to say otherwise, and hopefully they can bring that same intensity on this map from yesterday, alongside how the support line felt from earlier today, being able to knock out Harrisburg. So as we enter into that map, going to be most likely seeing, as we've seen before, that shield composition and how Dynasty is able to pull out these moments. But we have to also think how Iced is going to now be on the other side of it. Can Iced be able to also elevate themselves and put Boat or Dynasty in check alongside Cyrus, who are such a well-rounded, just coordinated duo?
I mean, Iced is, to me, the best DPS that we have left in the tournament right now. I think that, not that the rest of the DPS that we have in these next 3 are like bad or anything, but like the Iced is consistently, throughout his entire time of being a collegiate player, from when I've seen him even in tier 2 and things like that, he's consistently been one of the best DPS that we have. And I think that he also has that potential to just hit that switch and just say, this fight's going to be ours. So that matchup between Dynasty and Ice that we potentially might see will be impactful. I think Boat and Cyrus are most likely going to be more on those hit scan rolls. Ash, Cassidy, things like that are going to be important. And going into Blizzard World, this is where I think Northwood University has to really, really win this map, because going down 2-0 in a grand final and then having to run it back 3 maps into a bracket reset is something that I think is going to be incredibly mentally taxing.
It is extremely mentally taxing, and it's such a long road. And I'm sorry, Kenobi, please just read that for me. I hope you did while we were talking about it. As we now see this defensive position for Maryville stacked up, they are wanting to... Thank you, Prod. Thank you, Prod. Kenobi, I'm just going to let that sink in for you. As, again, the challenge is here. Northwood knows the obstacles ahead of them, and they are looking to be able to take this to a 1-1 score.
Maryville University on the defensive end with that double shield. Look, they're going to be opting in for the Ash, and Ash on the defensive end, I really like this pick from them because it does give you a lot of opportunities to get really good dynamite damage into the backline and AoE for free. Dynamite's very easily to hit on the defense, but Northwood running a bit more of a rushy style with their DPS, at least, with something like the Mei and with the McCree. So walls are going to be incredibly important, but Immortality Field forced early.
Oh, wow, and you see Mikey already get an early pickup onto Yamitra, so that's going to be a support loss. No armor packs necessary. Landon has, once again, so much on their shoulders, as we've seen before, but has managed to clutch out opportunities like this to either recover. Amplification Matrix has been already gained within just 40 seconds to utilize, but Cyrus taking this side angle, looking to try and harass them. Oh, but Iced comes in with a two-piece on the pulse bomb, and Cyrus gets one of their own.
And I mean, we talked about how good Seasons is at Orisa, but every single kill in that feed has an Orisa marker next to it, because that halt from Mikey was absolutely unreal. The halt combinations between him and Collegiate and the DPS have been absolutely insane throughout the entirety of the time that we've seen Maryville on broadcast. It's a fantastic defense from them. I wonder if Northwood University are just opting in for this Cassidy, for this Mei, to try and just brute force their way, you know, get something like a Mei Blizzard, throw it down in a team fight, and win that way, because they don't have a lot of AoE damage to work with. Another fantastic halt into a Dynamite.
Big coordinated play again. Oh,
Boat takes out Ice, that's big.
Boat getting iced is a massive opportunity, but Bob comes in on the front line to reinforce this defensive position despite Ice going down. Mikey able to eliminate their tempo control with this Mei play and draw back to continue holding.
Gravitic Flux is available here for Collusion. That's a big one.
Oh, my low health values on to Cowman. Can't withstand the incoming fire from Collusion. Pushes them into this small room of death, with Northwood being just completely stumped.
And I mean, again, it's Mikey and Collusion, the DPS, that are absolutely playing unreal right now in terms of coordination. Every single halt I've seen from Mikey has hit 5 people, has hit 4 people, and now Northwood University, the time bank that they had has been dwindled down significantly. Only a minute and 30 seconds left. Yes, they have 6 ultimates to work with, but 6 ultimates is almost a curse every time we see it in Overwatch, and this is probably the only ultimate rotation they're going to have. They need to brute force their way in right now.
Nice wall to try and help separate. The supercharger is there, will be quickly taken down as the Blizzard also forces back Maryville into this divided position. Ice, though, rounding the backside, trying to focus Landon, but can't seem to do so, as you have 3 in favor now for Northwood to push forward. 1 minute and 10 seconds. They have the chance now to take this.
Yeah, and I mean, Cyrus is going to have Bob relatively soon, so they can potentially use this Bob to contest the point. Mikey's coming back here on the Hammond. They're waiting patiently. Look at Cyrus.
Cyrus, Bob tossed in, gets the... Oh, actually knocked back and stunned for the moment, so it doesn't get as many knockups and crowd controls. Iced is eliminated. Boat and Dynasty come out big for Northwood to take this point.
But I mean, if you're Maryville here, you're totally taking this. This is the ultimate bank that Northwood had at this moment has been dwindled down all the way to 0 ultimates. Yes, Northwood are going to be able to take this point, but at what cost? They have to use everything in their ultimate bank, and they only capped with 30 seconds left. Luckily, going into this next fight, Landon's coming up on the Ant Matrix. They can take a lot of space away from Maryville University, control this high ground, and not let them just free farm into their backline. I think Dynasty going over to the Tracer is a great decision here, because you need someone to start checking Iced, because he was running around freely against this team of Northwood University.
Yes, they need to make sure that they shackle and prevent Ice from getting value. You could see even a stun coming out. Ice had to just elude and evade to make sure that they're not going to go down as this payload continues to push down the stretch, and this is just a stalemate for the moment.
Waiting patiently, you got to be looking out for that Ant Matrix. Another fantastic call into a Dynamite. That's so much damage being done, and Dynasty gets taken out.
Oh, wow. Iced on the lower left position, managing to weave their way into a position to capitalize onto it. Flux now lands once again onto 3. There's no Immortality Field since it was utilized earlier, and Luke Mino likes to line up their face in the kill feed.
The combinations, again, I cannot speak to it enough how good the combinations have been. Between, like, Mikey getting these halts into Dynamites every single time, and then because the Dynamites are hitting so hard, Ice is just able to go into the backline and secure as many kills as he wants. And again, Northwood University is at this position where they've been stalled so hard, they have to use Ant Matrix just to get out of spawn here. That is never a good decision.
No, this is a tragedy right now here, as you can see Northwood attempting to dig deep for this minute and 40 seconds to not allow them to lose a second map in a row. Bob from Cyrus gets a pickup onto Boat, and once again, just halts any sort of aggression into this. Yamitra is potentially giving enough value with this rally to re-engage this, and Ice, though, still keeping Dynasty in check by the payload while it's still a 5 versus 5 as Maryville backs off.
Here comes the Pulse Bomb, doesn't manage to find anything yet. Yeah, here comes Seasons with the Supercharger.
Oh, Collegiate in the Flux is going to get picked up. Immortality Field perfectly timed, though, by Lucamino to compete against them as the Supercharger gives some value to press into this for Northwood. They finally are able to get the pickups necessary and will get some space added to this payload's push.
And I think they're from Northwood University, that was just wallet diff, right? They have to use everything to get out of there. They have to basically sack the entirety of their ultimate economy just to get out of spawn and just to get this cart moving. 45 seconds is all that's left. Luckily, they're going to have Ant Matrix to work with, and they're just taking as much time on the cart as possible away from Maryville University because they know Maryville University has the ultimates to work with here, and they are just right now about taking as much of the cart as they can away.
And it's such a unique position to be in because at this point, if they lose the fight, they're so far away. The respawn is heavily in favor of Maryville defensively. Flux now going to come in onto Collusion. Accretion Rock to the side to potentially stop it, but it doesn't manage to land as you get a beautiful two-piece now from Cyrus getting both tanks down. Because it was fast enough, they might be able to get back in with some numbers of 6.
I mean, if they have to reset here, they're actually just going for it with Landon going down. Yeah, it's just, this is going to be it. There's no way that they have any semblance of a way to get back onto this point unless it's a miracle from Bo and Yamitra, which I don't think it's going to be.
Now, Yamitra gets a couple of stuns, but there's nobody to follow up. There's too few remaining even to get close to it to try and keep it in contention as the Supercharger's there as an insurance policy from Mikey. So now, once again, we see the goal has been set. Maryville on the defense has themselves put up a stellar performance and now swap sides to see if they can aggress to surpass where that cart is rested.
And I mean, this is a point where I think Northwood University realistically here has a win condition in their back pocket. They did such a good job on their own defense yesterday against Maryville, so they really have to step it up here. This was their map pick, remember, and going down 2-0 again is not a position you want to be in against a team like Maryville University having to break serve essentially every single map. And then again, go into a bracket reset. It's a very, very difficult situation for them. So this is almost like do or die right now for this Northwood team.
It is. And we need to see a moment as we saw on Eichenwalde where their hold defensively and the pop-off plays even surprise their partner alongside them and just completely shut down any sort of aggression. But with Maryville coming out and how they have been able to adapt and show their performance with this double shield composition, it is a very tall task, and I 100% agree with you.
Seeing Maryville University on their offensive side, they're going to be moving towards more of that Hanzo look from Cyrus, who was playing it very well. It does offer a lot of shield break, which you need on the offensive side to kind of move forward a little bit, but I wonder if Northwood University is going to get the same value that Cyrus and Mikey were getting with the Halt Dynamites. That's really what was getting Maryville such good advantages in that defense that they were having. So Northwood University have to do the same thing. They have to get value out of these two, get Dynasty in that backline to secure those kills, and just put up a Herculean defense.
And as the doors open, you see Maryville flooding onto this position in the back line with Iced, leading that rounded outside, getting, oh my goodness, a pick out the gate onto Boat. Northwood now already on the back foot. The heat has intensified. The burners are lit and boiling this water. You just see Northwood as a sitting duck right now with Maryville completely collapsing onto them and overwhelming any position they might have once had.
And I know it's like hard to like pop off on Orisa, right, and like get super hype about this hero and how much they're doing, but like Mikey is, I think at this point, semi-soft carrying right now. Like this has been a performance on Orisa that is like reminds me of like Gesture playing Orisa, where it's like every single halt is hitting the maximum value it possibly can. Even there, where it's like they know just a singular halt onto Boat, take out that Ash, and just have so much more damage potential than the other team that we can brute force our way through. And now with a 5-minute time bank, Northwood University is in very real danger of getting run on here.
Alt again, great to the side position, though Boat's attempting to get to that upper position as well, but seems to actually have to abandon because they know that that is a consistent location that Boat has been staying at. Landon now continues to get the amplification matrix to funnel down the stairway. Immortality Field's committed. Who will be able to prevail in this as you actually see Maryville lose theirs first for the time being, so Northwood can play more forward, but they walk into the Flux, 3 of them rising. Oh my, beautiful counter to that, and that once again allows Northwood to sustain.
Cowman has their Druidic Flux ready and available to them. Cyrus is trying to take this high ground away, gets so low, but is healed up.
Oh my goodness, Dynasty also going down again early in that, so it's going to be a challenge for Northwood to recover. The rally comes in to sustain down this stairway to try and compete against it. Halo does have theirs though, gives some decent assistance. Mikey will be able to clean up with the supercharger, giving a lot more value to everyone for Maryville. 4 minutes and 15 seconds on this time bank.
That was an absolutely unreal pulse bomb there from Ice. Yes, they sacrificed their life for it, but they forced an immortality field, do so much damage, and Northwood University are on the ropes here, Rich. Maryville University have the momentum. They're pushing forward. They're going to get that amplification matrix relatively soon, and Northwood just have to commit the supercharger just to basically threaten the fact that Maryville have to back off.
They do respond, able to fall back by the pylon terrace to make sure that they are not going to be taken down. Once it does fade, they will look for a re-entry. Amplification Matrix from Luke Mino will be a deciding factor to potentially have the damage runneth over onto this defensive side for Northwood. Underneath, Dynasty looking to try and compete against Heist, who has more often than not found the better exchange here. Dynasty playing scared to try and actually be more defensive to prevent Ice from getting it, but Yamitra goes down, and you've got the Dragon Strike here to come through. Maryville will be able to take the advantage and absolutely throttle Northwood on this defensive position. There is no way that Northwood, even on a map of previous success, is able to outmatch Maryville, making it now a match point.
I mean, this is Maryville saying anything you can do, we can do better, and we can win with. Like, this was a dominating performance on this double shield composition. Something Northwood is known for more than anything else is their double shield, and Maryville is playing it unreal right now. The coordination, the pop-off potential from the DPS has just absolutely been impeccable, and Maryville are one map away from back-to-back collegiate championships.
And it is just all revolving around this team, this university, and this program as a whole. Everything that they have managed to do is just seamless. And one really, really amazing comment that Max said, even before going into this, and many times before, they chant to themselves, one team, one family, and they are performing as one. They are working as a singular unit from top to bottom, which is allowing them to be able to demonstrate such a level of prowess over Northwood University, who at this point now is in their most dire moment, Kenobi.
I mean, this is way different than what we saw yesterday. We do have to remember that, like, when this was the grand finals last time, Maryville came out on those first two maps very, very strong, and Northwood University, after the break, after the halftime, came back and almost reverse swept. So there's definitely still a lot more to play for, especially against a team like Northwood, who, when they're backed into a corner like this, could potentially be the most dangerous.
And hopefully they will have enough to come out with a vengeance to try and turn this around, because if they do pull off this reverse sweep, it's only one step forward and a second has to be taken, but we'll be able to see that third map coming up in just a moment as we head to a short break before continuing this amazing gameplay. Oh, fancy seeing you here on another break. Well, since I've got you, let's take a look at some more highlights from this season. We opened showing off Bay State University against Northwood University on Havana. Bay State had a stellar defense for an easy goalpost placement, and to secure these final meters, we have quite the dynamic between Forgotten and Cabe for a cheeky high ground play. Come on, pick me up, pick me up! I'm not gonna boost you up. Oh, come on, please, I wanna go up, I wanna go up! Ugh, if you're gonna keep whining about it. Whee! After that exchange, Forgotten waited patiently to find a valuable Deadeye, causing quite the panic for Northwood on the low ground, and despite their focus onto Forgotten, the sound barrier keeps them alive to drop down from the balcony to continue free firing on Northwood in the midst of Cabe's blizzard to ultimately secure Bay State a victory on Havana.
Hello there, everyone. This is Kenobi, back again for that number 2 spot on our list. This week we have a destructive duplicate coming from Kennesaw State's Echo player, Wads. Wads hits the duplicate onto the Winston, and Wads would like to rage. Wads pummels the enemy Lucio off the map, and soon after sends the Doomfist 2 with no cooldowns, and he's going to follow suit straight into the drink. Nice spray, though. At this point, there's only the Moira left for heals, and where did the Moira go? Looks like Wads is just that good.
And for the final Swiss Week highlight, we have University of Florida versus Miami University of Ohio on Lijiang Tower. Control Center was the place to be for an explosive team wipe from University of Florida onto Miami. This two-prong attack from Weirdo and Zychronax, pummeling them with grenades, ensures that Weirdo could lay down a clean shatter, knocking 5 members to the floor for Florida, and setting up a perfectly timed and beautifully placed lob from Zychronax with the concussion mine to absolutely decimate Miami University with no ability to retaliate. I can never get enough of that team kill bell tolling in the distance. Those plays were pretty awesome, right? That's why you should keep sticking around to see more collegiate action. Welcome back, friends. We have seen some very, very, very exciting conclusions to a lot of things this season. And this one is going to be the biggest one, as we now see a match point situation for Maryville, able to close it out. And you, even before we went into the break, Kenobi commented about feeling backed away in the corner. And I feel that Northwood is essentially storming the island of Maryville. And they have managed to get onto this island, but now it's that moment of where they have to burn the boats, because they cannot look at any other option of escape. It is either conquer or be conquered. And it's that moment of where they're going to need to try and be able to do everything in their power to conquer this island.
It's Helm's Deep, baby. That's where we're at right now for Northwood. Northwood's at Helm's Deep. Like, they gotta get... this gate is not going to hold that much longer, and they have to make something happen here. Maryville University are in a position to secure themselves back-to-back championships here, and I think Rialto is a good pick again for Northwood. They were able to full hold a couple of teams on a map like this beforehand, so this is really the best place to plant your flag and say, this is where we're going to make our stand to try and get the reverse sweep. Because remember, again, even if they do end up reverse sweeping, they still have to play another best of 5 after this, after the bracket reset. So this is going to be the start of that, journey getting back into this series. Because so far, it's been all Maryville.
An adventure. And it's going to be multiple pages amongst the novel if they manage to do so. And we have to look at this one specific moment and talking with both teams and coaches and players. And that's how they've really had to live by. One moment, one objective, one goal at a time. And because we see such fundamentally well-structured overall gameplay from these individuals, it is those super subtle, micro, minuscule plays that will decide the factor of who takes this grand final title.
And so because last, in the previous matchup, I was talking a lot about how these halts from Mikey have been so good and how they've been getting so much value off of it. I think it's really going to come off the backs of the tank line of Northwood University to really start countering that, having Cowman with some good shield placement, making sure that the follow-up damage isn't potentially there, blocking a lot of those dynamites. To be fair to Cyrus, though, he's been hitting them in positions where it's nigh impossible for Cowman to do it. So it's almost that checkmate situation that you have to commit the shield to those dynamites instead of committing it to something else. And you can see from Maryville University, if it ain't broke for them, don't fix it. They're playing what they know. They're playing what has brought them this far as well. And Northwood University bring out something a little bit different, it looks like here, potentially with this Echo play alongside Yumitra with the pocket. And this means that Northwood's going to play a little bit slower, right? They're going to try spamming out. They're going to be able to be the ones to try and get an assassination from a distance. But on the other side, you have Cyrus, who is going to be able to put some pressure onto Dynasty and Yumitra. So that's the battle to look out for, because whoever wins that will dictate what happens on the ground.
As they push forward, we'll see that continued battle between the two. Dynasty now taking that long position around the backside, pairing with Umitra as they have some decent damage coming out. Sticky Bomb's going to go wide. And with Boat getting that Storm Arrow damage, keeping a watchful eye on this backline to not be overrun by Iced.
You see Ice is going in the backline trying to get something done. Dynasty does take down Halo, so that's big. That means there's no Brigitte in this fight, and that's some healing that's lost.
And there's still some, ability to draw some of the timeout. Boat getting that pick up onto Iced and to Mikey ensures that they will move into this open position and start to really gain some distance.
I mean, beautiful positioning from Dynasty going along the backside, knowing that they have that open area to work with as the Echo takes down Halo, which is a perfect pick, takes down Cyrus as well. And this is what Dynasty needs to do in a map like this. In a deciding map, you need to be able to frag, and they're giving him all the resources to be able to do so. And this should be, with how aggressive Northwood are pulling here, a first take for them.
And Maryville seems to be underestimating, I think, how Northwood is playing right now. They have this revitalized spirit going into it, and they're playing so aggressive, Kenobi.
Yeah, and I mean, this is really good. I think that they are using the fact that they have such a range advantage, right? And even if Cyrus is going to be here on a hit scan, it's not that consistent pressure you might need to pressure out something like an Echo and a Mercy in that high ground, as we see Northwood University coming up on a treasure trove of ultimates.
And with that treasure trove of ultimates, they want to try and stagger these out, but also manage to get value with the number that they expend. Mikey up top, with that amplification matrix already being utilized from Luke Mino, at this point, it's not going to give them anything. They have to draw back to hold this corner.
And Northwood University still have the ultimate advantage. Dynasty's going to come in with the duplicate, pop that onto Sigma, and get that other Sigma Veridic Fluxes. If he plays too close to the sun, though, that's not good, and almost Umitra gets taken down too.
That's a beautiful coordinated response to it. You see Cyrus play and take advantage of Dynasty, who has already been the one to outmatch it. A Flux is committed by Northwood in the back. They've lost two significant players in this. Cyrus comes out big once again and acknowledge, Dynasty, you might have stepped up, but I can step higher.
I mean, that was all Cyrus right there. Being able to take out Dynasty on that crossfire, not only that, but also headshotting the Mercy during res so Ice can secure that kill, and both of the members just completely go home. Luke Mino gets taken out by a random log from Boat, and this might be another moment where Northwood can just move forward aggressively. There's not a lot of healing, almost none, if this Brigitte is the only one here.
And you can see both Ice and Cyrus kind of having to fend for themselves. They can't sustain through it because Luke Mino is still approaching this regroup, and you find Maryville, deja vu moment on this stairway, allowing Northwood to push.
The rally is going to be here for Halo very soon. They have to use it aggressively.
Duplicate now up top coming in. Sigma play from Dynasty. Double Sigs with a lot of accretions and a lot of kinetic grass to mitigate as the Flux lands onto two in the back. Pulse Bomb goes out, trying to see if they can set it up for that Supercharger, and does so. Duplicate now finally being halted. And you've got 3 minutes and 20 seconds now with Maryville still trying to be in the back, just harassing those not yet grouped.
Northwood is burning. Luke Mino has this Amp Matrix ready and available to them if they think that they need it. Right now, Mikey has committed the Supercharger to this, and we're just going to start dancing again, seeing who can get a potential pick.
Dancing, and who is going to be the leader? That's the question, as Luke Mino still continues to keep this front line healthy and sustaining through everything that is being tossed at them from Northwood.
Maryville University is still holding strong now. Both amplification matrix are available to them, and here they come at the same time. Dynasty solo!
Iced in the mid-air, attempting to take down Dynasty, but there is so much coming from Umitra, and Boat gets one onto Cyrus. Both DPS are down. They aren't able to find the value. These supports are keeping them alive and flourishing for Northwood to keep this push going.
Clutch healing there as Griffin Flux is going to be committed here from Kalman just to secure this second point take. Halo is down, and actually Bob is committed here. They want to try and stall.
Yeah, they're going to see if they can get it just on the pillar, but it's instantly deleted. The Immortality Field even committed as well onto it to try and keep Bob alive. With Dynasty low, actually does get much value despite them having a low health value, and no one from Maryville can get near that contention, so that's another checkpoint reached.
And I mean, I talked about it, Rich. When backed into a corner and when vulnerable, Northwood is their scariest, and right now they're playing so well currently. Dynasty absolutely going bonkers on this Echo with the help of Umitra on that pocket, and now you can see Maryville University opting for some different things in this enclosed area, bring out that Hanzo to match the shield break.
They're changing them. Oh,
what
no!
a rock!
Kaluj comes in immediately after the halt comes in by Mikey. The coordination once again consistently has dominated and put them on a dominant position again in this archway.
I mean, they see Yamitra just a little bit out of position, and one halt into accretion through an Matrix is enough to take it down, and the fight just completely ends. A singular ultimate like that gets so much value, and you can see now, as we're going to a more enclosed area through third point, we're gonna get Yamitra off of the Mercy and onto something like the Brigitte. So Dynasty doesn't necessarily have the same amount of pocket that he had in the previous fight, but he has the duplicate to work with, can throw that onto the Sigma, and get double Greater Fluxes going.
And curious to see how things shift with Dynasty no longer having that security, those bandages, the health necessary to survive through any sort of misplay. And now moving forward, you have the amplification matrix for both to continue putting out damage. Dynasty down below, also duplicating the Sigma, trying to get that flux quickly enough to utilize before they lose this duplicate. They're not getting it fast enough and can't even use it. Oh, they finally get it though. Dynasty gonna dive in and gets the sticky bombs. This is a moment where you see Northwood saying, this is not a should win for us, it is a must win.
Yeah, I mean, Cowman there says, it doesn't matter, Dynasty, you didn't get the duplicate, or the gravitic flux. I have mine. And Northwood University, 2 minutes left in their time bank. Moving forward, Maryville will get one last contest. They have a rally to work with. They're also going to have Ant Matrix, and they're just going to rush onto Northwood.
And with Northwood now being quite
huge pulse.
Big pulse in the back onto Dynasty, and again, there's no way that you can evade that explosive damage. Cyrus now comes in. This is a respawn grouping and onslaught to Northwood, and Maryville now holds again just before those final few meters.
Absolutely love that decision from Maryville University, just bursting out of that spawn, using the rally effectively, and Iced in the backline gets a perfect stick onto Dynasty, the one you want to hit in a situation like this. Northwood coming back in, a minute left in their time bank about. Dynasty switching over to the Genji, should be able to farm up Blade relatively quickly, but look at the ultimates they're walking into here, Rich. They have to get some of these ultimates out.
Oh no, and they're stuck in this small position. The halt comes in as well. The damage is so consistent from the Dragon Strike. The immortality field from Landed is the reason that they survive, but now the flux is there. They don't have the immortality field, so the damage is still actually being sustained because the rally is giving enough for them to maintain it. This is an absolute bloodbath on this high ground position. Neither team is losing value, and finally some takedowns
Landon's
come
still
through,
alive.
and Landon finally gets picked up by Ice with the pulse bomb. 40 seconds now to stem this position again.
Oh, that was so unreal clutch from Ice there. Landon and Yamitra could have just continuously healed themselves through that, but the burst damage from the pulse is too much to deal with. So many ultimates committed in that last fight, and 26 seconds is all that is left for Northwood here on this push. Rally is available here for Halo. Dragon Strike is going to be here from both to create some space. Can Dynasty find a way to get this Dragon Blade at the same time as the Supercharger and use that Dragon Blade Supercharger to break this point?
It is a massive factor for their success.
Cyrus on the flank.
Great halt to pull them together. Halo gets that rally. Oh my! Nice takedown onto Cyrus. They need to transition to cart though, as the overtime is procced. Iced back with armor will be able to contest, but now it's still numbers advantage for Northwood. Landed committing that amplification matrix. Iced in the back focusing Landon. That is their win condition to eliminate the supports. Either that or both, but the Dynasty Blade is online. Halo goes down. They near this completion and they have a chance.
And they don't have to use it right now. They can keep it with the Supercharger Blade combination, as Maryville's going to come back and try and recontest here. They've put Mikey on the ball.
Amplification Matrix once again coming through, giving that extra damage through the doorway, as you do have now Haley trying to see Halo if they can get that opportunity to get some stuns in control. Dynasty diving into the back position, forcing them into the room.
Dynasty!
Oh my goodness! 3 with a Dragon Blade, and also the strike to ensure that they keep distance away. They have managed to get a team kill, and it truly has become a must-win factor for Northwood.
And that is how you do it in a game-deciding match like this, in a series-deciding map where you need someone to come up clutch. Dynasty on their Genji, something that they won contenders with back in the day. A perfectly placed Dragon Blade from them comboed along with the Supercharger, and Northwood stay alive and guarantee themselves at least another chance at Rialto.
And You have a little bit of sigh of relief here for Northwood. That is something that for them is truly, truly necessary. And with Maryville now on the attack, they know going into Northwood is going to be a challenge defensively. And even though the previous map might not have been the perfect deciding factor, Northwood in this, knowing that they are on this last opportunity position, have actually escalated themselves quite a bit.
Northwood is also very, very good at this map defensively. That's something that they can hang their hat on, right? Where it's like, if we even go to third, fourth round or third, second rounds of this map, Northwood definitely has the confidence to be able to just say, look, we are so good at this defensively. We have the potential to full hold. They've done it on broadcast before. This is a team that knows Rialto inside and out, and Maryville University can't do the same thing that they were doing on Blizzard World with Cyrus and the value that he was getting on the Ashe. It has to be a little bit different here.
And now as these seconds dwindle, the doors will open. Compositional change up for Maryville out the door, and I'm not going to foresee Cyrus sticking on this for long, but maybe they can get a valuable pick out the gate. Oh, but Boat does actually instead!
I mean, Boat just says, Cyrus, you're going to be on the Widow here. It doesn't even really matter at this point. I'm going to be the Hanzo with the Storm Arrows taking you down, and Cyrus now will go back over towards that patented Ashe, I think, that has now been in their back pocket. Interesting that it's not going to be the Hanzo, because I think the Hanzo here works really well, and I've seen Cyrus play it really well here, but they want that AoE damage in their back pocket. Lukemino gets taken out, though, and that's so much healing that's lost for Maryville University. They cannot go forward without that Baptiste in their back pocket, and this will let Landon start getting a little bit of an advantage in terms of that percentage towards that amplification matrix, which could be the thing that opens up this fight.
And even if it's just small variables of having that advantage, getting it earlier to really be able to punish Maryville in this position is the best opportunity for them. Still, Dynasty up top getting some damage. Lukemino forcing out the Immortality Field because they were low underneath to prevent any follow-through with the sticky bombs, but now they're going to be just completely collapsed on from behind. Dynasty gets one, but also goes down in the exchange.
I mean, that's so worth it, though. You take down two, you are going to be able to get back to the point relatively quickly, but Ice has this Pulse Bomb ready and available. Gets taken out, though, by Cowman. Pulse Bomb not going to be there in time, and Northwood University still holding strong on this defense. Maryville University have to retreat here.
Yep, and with them retreating, it gives an opportunity now for Northwood to be able to take stock of what they have. A couple of halts trying to reposition, but the ultimates, both supports and tanks, are 5 of them fully Kenobi.
We got the support ultimates for Northwood University, as well as Valkyrie to keep Dynasty alive. He hits a nice sticky bomb. Can he stay alive? He doesn't!
No, doesn't. The Dragon Strike attempting to get some opportunity in return, but the Immortality Field is just tucked up in the top corner of the doorway, so nobody can get rid of it, and that Dragon Strike doesn't get any value. Flux coming out defensively from Calman to see if it will turn this over into Northwood's favor again, and it does. It is time and time again that we've seen Calman do this on this position.
And just the amount of spam that Northwood has here is so difficult for Maryville to deal with in a position like this, where unless Cyrus is hitting huge dynamites, they just can't match with the shield break. It's something that Northwood's competition does so extremely well, is just break shields with a Hanzo, with an Echo, and all of their spam. Maryville necessarily don't have that. They have to just get up towards these ultimates and brute force their way into a fight win.
Mikey, super low. Supports are keeping them topped up, though. Same thing with Kalush. Flux now going to lead into it just through this choke point again, which they have not been able to break through. Consistent, applied defensive pressure, and you have another pickup. Oh, finds Halo. This is Northwood with a fire in their belly to keep this defensive position their favor from start to finish.
I mean, the duplicates here onto the Sigma as well, so Dynasty, another tank in this moment. Boat takes down Ice, too. This is a fantastic hold still for Northwood University. Dragon Strike is available for Boat, and Maryville Rich only have a minute left. Boat is popping off, man.
Lukemino eliminated in the doorway. The second they poke their face out to take a look at the enemy, they are instantly shut down.
I mean, this is, again, Boat has been someone who has stepped up immensely during this entire tournament, and going up against the likes of Cyrus and the likes of Ice has been really showing their stuff. Dragon Strike available in their back pocket. Cowman very close.
Oh, no!
I mean, again, another one onto Ice. He just cannot play this game.
Boat, MVP right now in this moment for this map. Highly am just stunned by what we have been watching. Now, 20 seconds, Kenobi, this is it.
This is all that they have left. Valkyrie committed here from Yumitra just to top everyone off. Dragon Strike available. Cyrus takes down Landon. That's a huge pick.
But Ice also goes down, but it is still to support. The res is there. That comes in by Yumitra. Comes in to grab the hand of their partner and bring them back into this. Northwood defensively has a place of power. They've constantly put Maryville into the corner for this whole map. Boat just lays waste, as well as Dynasty onto the team. Northwood defensively have bolstered their morale. They've risen to the occasion and will be able to halt Maryville before even reaching this first point of contention. And what a turnaround on this map of Rialto.
That's why Northwood picks this map, because they know on the defensive end, with Boat, with Dynasty, with the way that we were playing with our tanks combinations, there is no one that can beat us. I think this is a map that they have such a huge humongous win rate on in terms of just their ability to play double shield on the defensive end, and I think that this is the momentum that they need going forward. Remember, last year, again, I said it before, they were down 0-2, and they brought it back all the way to a Game 5. They didn't end up winning, but you got to start the reverse sweep somewhere, and it starts here on Rialto, but now you have to break serve consistently against Maryville University these next two maps.
And as we commented earlier, such an emotional team, and they've really tried to be able to work on that, to not allow the emotions to overwhelm them. But in this specific moment, the emotion of success and the powerhouse worth of excitement, I think, is actually going to really help fuel them to do this, because they desperately need it.
I mean, they really do, because this is, again, they are on match point. They just lose once. They have to play nigh perfectly throughout the rest of this, and then again into another best of 5 series after that. So the mountain is still very, very high to climb for Northwood University, but it has to start somewhere. It has to start at one step, and they're doing it right here, playing impeccably on that map. Really, I think the best job that they did was adapting to this like Ash style of double shield that Maryville was running and not letting it get value. Cyrus got like 1, maybe 2 bobs, I think, during that entire map, and none of them got a lot of value. On Blizzard World, completely different. It was just a bobs every single time from Cyrus and Halt. So I think as we go into our next map, which is going to be Ilios on control, 2CP is not here anymore. I wonder what we see in terms of the compositions again. Is this a moment where Maryville decide we want to play more of that rush style depending on the map? I would expect Northwood just continuously plays double shield. Ball is a potentially important pick on this map as well. It's not going to be, I think, double shield mirror as we've seen in these last 3 maps.
Yeah, and historically, when it comes to this control map for Ilios for both of these teams, it is a nail-biter. They have been constantly close. Overtime moments, going 3 rounds to the tail end of it, and with that being now a still match point position here for Maryville to take it all, Northwood again still at least revitalized for now to go into this. And like you commented, those couple of different compositions going into this, I'm looking to see that Bode has already stepped up with this Hanzo play. I think going into this now with Dynasty on this Tracer has to do the same.
I think Bo, in that map, proved to me at least that I like out of these 4 DPS, if you would have asked me like before the start, like where is like the ranking, where would I rank them? Dynasty and Iced were obviously at the top. I think Cyrus is a really good Robin to the Batman that is Iced, but Boat in that map specifically, I think proved to me that like this was a great pickup for Northwood. Boat has been someone who has been a little bit, more in the shadow of Dynasty throughout a lot of this bracket so far, and now is really coming into their own with that performance on something like Rialto. And in a moment where they need it, they need Boat and Dynasty to be firing on all cylinders right now. And if they can bottle that up and continuously make it happen going into these next couple of maps, Northwood definitely have the chops to be able to reverse sweep this and take us to a bracket reset.
As we now enter in onto the map of runes, for those out there, there was a very even close prediction to see who was going to win this. They need your energy and your support now. Northwood in a position to continue attempting a reverse sweep here. For those, meanwhile, on the other side for Maryville, your predictions as well. You got to give a shout out so that they can close this out. Both, for all of you around, no matter where you are, we hope that you send your energy into this, because this is going to continue being absolutely an amazing opportunity for Overwatch.
Northwood University sticking with what they know it looks like coming out of spawn, sticking with the Echo that's been so good so far. Dynasty has been an absolute nut on it with the pocket that's been coming from Yamitra. Maryville University, this is what I was talking about, where they potentially have that ability to switch over to a ball composition with these flankers of the Sombra and the Tracer. So Boat has to be incredibly careful here, because he is the most vulnerable member at the moment. And between the 4 members diving onto him, the rest of Northwood need to keep this Hanzo alive in some way. And you can see Boat is already on high ground, so he's positioning very well to start things off.
And you can see how close Landon
He was 1 health!
Oh my, Dynasty. You had a moment, your heart skipped a beat just like mine as this aggression comes through, as you commented, to Boat, but Landon is right there next to them to secure that they are not going to be outmatched. This damage gets the DMEC freely on the backside, with Dynasty giving assistance to Boat. They are just absolutely coming out on a tear right now for this initial control point.
Yeah, I mean, this is so great as well. Fantastic positioning from all of Northwood University. They're playing around the point extremely well. It hasn't flipped over just yet. Northwood getting low. Season's able to survive, and here comes the focusing beam.
Dynasty up top here is absolutely giving so much additional assistance to getting rid of the support line, and now it's really just a scramble for Mikey to retreat back and regroup, and still goes down.
And I mean, this was a very elongated fight, so a lot of ultimates are going to be available in this next fight. Mainly, the big one is going to be Cyrus with that EMP. If Maryville can get this EMP out and get it onto enough members, specifically the backline ones, potentially just throw it up in the air, get Dynasty and Nimitra, force them onto the ground where they can be pulse bombed, that's a win condition for Maryville here.
Maryville now attempting to try and see.
They saw Cyrus!
Oh no!
They
Cyrus
scouted him!
goes down. Storm Arrow comes in, and they will not be able to get the EMP and utilize it in this fight. Dynasty also here, even committing that duplicate to secure that they can continue harassing and forcing Maryville back.
That might have been the best recon arrow I've ever seen right there. Like, Cyrus was in a perfect position to get an EMP, and Boat says, no, it's not happening. And Northwood University are continuing to hold this point and tick up that percentage. Cyrus here really, this time, needs to get something done with the EMP. Dynasty gets taken out. Do they commit res to this?
They're going to have to. I think they want to into the EMP. Seasons goes down, though, with the Supercharger at least still being present. It's most likely not going to be able to really give any more assistance. Maryville now at this point is in a position to swap it back, and they, were able to take advantage of Cyrus's EMP, which was long delayed, though.
Yeah, I mean, it did take a long time, and that's about 64% that's going to be on the table for Northwood University in terms of percentage. But now, with the positioning, Cyrus can potentially get into those areas to farm EMP back up relatively quickly again. But Boat and the rest of Northwood have been doing a very good job of scouting him out and basically not letting him free farm that EMP. Iced is coming back in with the pulse bomb. You can see on the flank, Cyrus looking for a kill.
Yep, Cyrus fixated onto Boat, but while we talk about that, Ice gets eliminated. Dynasty finds the sticky bombs, and you can just see this reposition from Boat back behind the shield, so they won't be able to get taken down by Cyrus. And with this backline position, they have to commit to the point because everyone from Northwood is snowballing onto it.
I mean, Luke isn't here anymore, and he had Trance, so this is just a fight win for Northwood University off the back of basically just sticky bombs that took out Iced, and now it's just about Maryville trying to get back onto this point and secure as much percentage as they can. They get to 42%, but Rich, with how fast Northwood is ticking up at the current moment right now, 71%. Northwood University is very much in that last fight territory. They have Ant Matrix to work with. They have a Valkyrie to keep everyone topped up. Here comes Cowman with a very early self-destruct. If it finds anything, it finds Immortality Field, and it finds the Transcendence!
Oh my, that is beautiful value going into this. You've got Northwood
Cyrus
in the driver's seat. Cyrus goes down. There is no ability to get the EMP. That pulse bomb is also tossed in. It's just desperate plays right now from Maryville to prevent this round from going in favor of Northwood.
And you can see this Hammond is just trying to get on. They actually killed Boat. There is no res potentially.
And you still have down below, though, Kaluge mitigating and getting some damage on high. Does assist with Lugmino getting back into the mix here, taking down Dynasty. And Maryville not out of this yet, managed to pull through.
I am shocked that Maryville brought that one back. They clutched that up so nasty between the dive coming in from Mikey with the minefield, as well as Iced with the Tracer just getting so many kills in that backline. Detected again. Cyrus has been checked this entire time so far, has the EMP. It needs to hit Pader here. They need to cycle these ultimates. Lupino gets taken down again.
Boat continuing to demonstrate their value on this role, and you again force back Cyrus. Northwood has become online, though. Halo and Ice get Dynasty. That's something for Maryville to work with and eliminate the Supercharger. Landon in the back getting harassed, has to force out the Immortality Field, but Yamitra is there to give assistance. Pile drive onto Boat, prevents them from keeping the damage, and now it's last fight territory for Northwood.
And the EMP is still here for Cyrus, but he's continuously getting scouted back. Boat has now gone over to the Cassidy just to offer a little bit more CC and survivability, but we're at last fight. Here comes Ice with the Pulse.
Ice looking to dive in, tosses it into the back. Oh, that's beautifully done by Calman to prevent that from getting a pickup onto the supports, and now you do have Halo taking down Seasons, though Dynasty has to fill in for the role as they duplicate onto the Diva. The Discord Orb makes it even more challenging as a self-destruct is tossed into the mix in the backside. Ice getting stunned and taken down. That is Calman coming in big with assistance, and you have going to be Northwood taking advantage of this. They have the numbers to push back into this. They just have to isolate and focus down these two tanks in the bottom position. Mikey buying the time. Yamitra needs the stun, but can't find it, while Seasons actually gets the elimination first. Spinning around on the hook, you have Collegiate alone on the point. This overtime will not allow it to go in favor of Maryville, but Northwood's managing to do so.
I mean, Iced is just here, but it's not enough. Cyrus is able to take down Dynasty, but still, with the rally and with the Brigade to healing, too much for Maryville to deal with, and Northwood University are now one more round away from taking us to a map 5, and unreal play from Boat, again, who has just been, these last two maps, an absolute star right now. I don't think I've seen so many recons just hit pay dirt every single time to scout out a Sombra. Cyrus got to do literally nothing that map. He had 2 EMPs, one of them was very good at the end, but did not get the amount of value you wanted because he had to continuously move backwards because of the scouting.
And this is gonna force Cyrus and Iced to have to really step up right now, because it wasn't just on Rialto. Boat managed to get these picks. They've now carried it into this control map.
We see Northwood University not switching up too much on this map. You do have a lot of play. I mean, Ice gets obliterated by sticky bombs at the very start that were damage boosted. That feels like that's something that's happened a couple of times so far. And with this composition from Maryville University, they like to play it a little bit slower, and that just allows Dynasty to spam from a distance with this pocket, and can, realistically, Maryville University deal with that?
And look at how, oh no, Dynasty gets Lugmino inside of the hut. The tri-shot and sticky bombs is more than enough, and now they collapse onto Halo. Dynasty steps up just as much as Boat.
I mean, Maryville needs to start going faster. Like, they need something to deal with Dynasty. You cannot just let Dynasty spam like this throughout. He is going to annihilate your team. I mean, Diva's going to be here. There's also a Baptiste now, which is going to be a little bit easier to deal with in terms of pressuring out Dynasty in the air. But right now, Dynasty has completely taken over this game.
And with taking over this game, it now turns the attention away from Boat to try and capitalize onto Dynasty, but when you do that, you leave Boat free to do what they wish. And with this contention now, onto the point, Mikey crosses over the center, looking for a backline position, harassing Boat or even the supports here, but they are sought out. Again, that recon arrow coming to give visibility onto Cyrus, who still has yet to get to this EMP. Troublesome times. Oh my, Seasons gets the follow-up onto the initial arrow that came through onto Halo, so they once again claim dominance.
I mean, there's really, again, there's still nothing stopping. Because this is a Sombra composition, you have to play it a little bit slower. Sombra compositions want to build up towards EMP, but Northwood is saying, we are not going to let you. We are just fine dancing and spamming from a distance, and if you walk out of an area once in a bad way, you're going to get blown up by either Hanzo arrows or by damage-boosted Echo. So Maryville University now, with this EMP coming online, with the Transcendence in their back pocket, they need to start making something happen right now. Yeah. This is their last chance because it's at 67%.
Yeah, this is the win con. Oh no, Cyrus goes down into usage of the EMP, and it doesn't land onto anyone. Northwood has absolutely crippled their win condition in this, and now have to swap Cyrus onto Echo.
Oh, Ice gets taken out. This is back and forth right here. Self-destruct's coming in from Collegiate.
And not going to land anything. Shield is there to cover it. 15% to go. You've got Collegiate re-entering once again onto Seasons, but they're waiting for the regroup of a full 6. Cyrus now on this Echo has a lot to catch up since they opted so much heavily into that Sombra play. Now, looking for Landon in the back. The Immortality Field comes out. It has been responded to, and the Pulse Bomb and Stickies from Cyrus are enough to be able to turn this back as they keep it into overtime, and will finally have a moment to switch it over.
The duplicated Baptiste is not enough for Northwood University here, even with the Matrix coming out. Actually, Boat does take down Cyrus. This is very scrappy back and forth. Dynasty, though, super low. Boat gets 2!
Oh my, Boat got 3! He's coming back and pulling this out of nowhere, and they swap it back with some last moment contention. Mikey able to buy a few seconds, but it goes back over. Northwood has cleaned them up. Nobody's here. It's just, again, Hail Mary moments for Maryville. Northwood is in absolute control of this and putting Maryville in an unbelievable, perplexing situation as this overtime will shut down. The support is eliminated. Northwood is taking this to a map 5.
I mean, Boat pulls that one completely out of a hat. There was no shot that Northwood had any right to win that one. Self-destruct comes out, but gets taken down by Boat. Who else is going to show up in the kill feed when you need them the most? It's the Boat show, and everyone else on Northwood is in that boat, sailing towards a map 5. What an unreal Hanzo performance on Ilios.
Everybody get ready. We're going on the cruise ship. Boat right now is the captain and taking us to that 5th map. I cannot believe it. And again, we can't discredit Dynasty here because this is the play of the game, but really, just this DPS line and Boat, everything about Northwood has come back into this and brought it to a reverse sweep moment. It's deja vu for you and I, Kenobi, all over again.
I mean, this is exactly like you were talking about. Deja vu. This is exactly what happened. And I said it was a possibility at the start. I said, remember, last year, Maryville was up 2-0, very convincing at the start. Northwood University gets on a break. They have the greatest orange slices and Capri Sun at halftime, and they come back and take us to a map 5. This time, though, they're hoping that it looks a little bit different because last time Maryville won that map 5. Northwood University this time have a chance to reset the bracket and take us to another best of 5 series in this map 5.
Absolutely, and we will be heading to a short break because we do not want you to wait any longer for this 5th map to see if it's the conclusive end or another best of 5, so be with you soon, friends. Hello again, it's break time. Now let's look at some highlights from earlier this season. First up, we have Illinois State University versus Bellevue University on Blizzard World. We get to highlight React on their Sigma play and the value brought with properly timed accretions. In this moment, you can see that React really puts a stop to Crowie's Flux upon immediate activation. And you are probably thinking, what a lucky shot. Truly a one-time thing. Couldn't do that a second time around. Well, you'd be wrong. As ISU reaches the final few meters, React does it again with a bird's eye view perfectly anticipating where Crowie would maneuver, peeking the corner and being shut down, denying any attempt to recover on the defensive side. I think we can all agree their reaction time is truly on point.
Hello there everyone, it's Kenobi here again to take you through our second play of the week, courtesy of Maryville and their main support magician, Luke Mino. Luke Mino does some classic Reddit Lucioing, racking up a nice 5k in the kill feed with the help of some friends, and sending 5 Madison Esports players back to spawn. That's a kill feed you can post on Twitter.
And for our final highlight, we have Lords Esports versus UCF Knights on Kings Row. We focus on the Pharah play by Biz, who is about to lay waste to UCF. With the Rocket Barrage primed and ready to unleash, they drop from the heavens above to rain justice through the archway, annihilating all who stand in their path. Despite not getting all 6 with one fell swoop, Biz was still able to chase down the stragglers and claim their rightfully earned 6k. Now that those are done, make sure you don't go anywhere because we've got more action coming soon. Friends, we find ourselves in a map 5, a reverse sweep potential to reset a bracket. The script couldn't be any better written, Kenobi. We are here with all of you viewing at home, looking forward to seeing who is going to be able to continue working through this to be the #1 team, and we could look to see another best of 5, my friend.
It is possible. The bracket reset is on the cards here, and it makes sense that it's these two teams, right? Going the distance to a map 5. That's what we deserve, and we can say that we are going to be going to Junkertown as our final map here, map 5. This is where it happened yesterday. Both of them went the distance on this map, got to just a minute left in their time bank to push it, and just by the skin of their teeth, Maryville pulled this one out. Northwood University are trying for a different time that they're going to be able to get this time because they want to be able to complete this one and they want to reset the bracket.
Kenobi, this is poetic. This is so perfect to enter in onto this map as we saw yesterday, all coming down to this moment again to see if Northwood can persevere through it and be able to make those subtle micro changes that allow them to claim this win. And what we've seen in these last two maps from the DPS line absolutely elevating themselves to an unbelievable high are going to continue riding it.
And I think the thing about this map that's really good for as a decision for Maryville at this point is that the echo has been a problem throughout like these last two maps, and I think moving us to Junkertown basically enables Dynasty to not play it, right? Where it's like, if you play Echo on this map, it's so open and there's so many long-range DPS that it's basically impossible to deal with, but we got iced on this Widowmaker. And I wonder, though, Northwood University yesterday pulled out the Bastion. Are Maryville University aware of this? And you can already see Dynasty, it's potentially going to happen again here.
And as we just sit on the edge of our seats, Maryville, though, looking at historically what Northwood has done, they could suspect this, but as they come out, it is actually a hard swap in the last few seconds.
Dynasty is going back to spawn, potentially to switch something else. Boat's going to be, they're doing it. They're doing full pirate ship. Here we go. Map 5 of the grand finals. Northwood University doing what they do best, running the Bastion comp. And Maryville University are going to have a hard time dealing with this, especially Iced. Iced is going to have such a hard time finding a way to get picks here. He's going to have to really work to get around these shields.
And look at how fast they are going down. Cyrus, though, gets a huge pickup onto Boat, finds the perfect angle and that narrow passageway to eliminate this Bastion play.
And this is really good scouting as well from Maryville University. Bring out a Hanzo, bring out a Zenyatta and Lucamino on this Baptiste. There's so much spam for Northwood to deal with that the Bastion comp just has no legs to stand on, so they're going to swap, but already you can see Cyrus 80% towards that Dragon Strike as we get a pause right in the middle of this. And again, really, really fantastic scouting from Maryville University. They know from what they happened yesterday where they didn't have this type of setup, they know that Bastion's a possibility, so they bring out all the heroes that could potentially be able to counteract any type of pirate ship composition they bring to the table.
I mean, the one good thing, though, when we look at the other side of it, is that Northwood had that happen so swiftly that it gives them an opportunity to completely change their mind. At this point, they've abandoned ship, no pun intended. That Boat now is going back onto this Hanzo play so that they can utilize this full 3 minutes to their advantage so that they can actually have a solid recontest moving into this.
And with how well Boat was playing on Ilios, putting them back on the Hanzo is definitely a good sign here, especially now that you have Yumitra in their back pocket with a pocket, no pun intended there, as they're going to be able to get a lot of damage done, and Cyrus is going to have a hard time dealing with Dynasty in that backline.
We are truly on the same wavelength when our puns come together, is hoping to be Northwood coming together with this compositional switch because the Bastion play didn't work. Dragon Strike leading into the flank. Halt trying to pull them close enough to it to get the damage. A nice pickup on Dynasty from Luke Mino, and Iced is still being relatively uncontested right now, looking for Boat, but Luke Mino says, I'll take him down too, friend. Oh my goodness!
Luke Mino's able to take out two! He's able to take out two, and Ice takes down Landon. That's a full retreat. Luke Mino going hecka aggressive there with Halo rather, and getting so much done on this Baptiste roll, and Northwood University, the time bank has been dwindled down. Only 2 minutes available for them. They're coming back in, and they have a small advantage when it comes to those tank ultimates that are going to be incredibly important. You're going to be looking at Halo specifically to be able to get this Transcendence to counteract the incoming damage.
And sights are available. Oh, it finds it through an assortment of protective barriers and gets Landon, and the res comes out.
Ice there hits a perfect shot, and they get that resurrection. Cyrus getting extremely low here. Northwood waiting for those tank ultimates in the perfect moment to aggress.
Flux now coming in from Calman, attempting to shut down Maryville on this defense. Backline position, Ice repositioning, looking for the shot, and just goes wide. And while they're losing sight lines and not getting the direct picks, Boat comes out and shows that they're one better.
And Boat's going to be able to take out Iced here. You don't want to be up close against the Hondo in this scenario right now. Just a duel of the snipers, and Northwood University with that will be able to take this first point, get themselves a new time bank. But Maryville University are going to be able to stop the bleeding a little bit when it comes to this part of the map. They have their tank ultimates available to them. They also have a Transcendence in their back pocket. Why is my own tweet showing up on this broadcast?
There's been enough of mine.
Production.
Let's give you some credit. As this 3 minutes now continues, you've got Iced in the back looking to try and give some assistance. Dragon Strike beautifully placed up towards that high ground position as you have one picked up. Cyrus goes down again. First it was on the Widowmaker, and Boat finds it again onto the Hanzo play. But as it continues to dwindle in excitement, you're going to see Northwood be a little hindered for the moment, and Maryville at least managing to still hold this upper position.
What a hold!
Oh, wow. Transcendence even going to make sure that they have to force it out to survive.
I mean, you have to do it at that point if you're Halo. You have to get... The Transcendence is all that's going to keep you alive, and they get absolutely rushed down, and now it's going to start moving forward for Northwood University, but here's an Ant Matrix to stop the bleeding.
This is the big opportunity for them to gain time if they can continue to snowball this. Cyrus gets the better end of Boat for the first time thus far in this map. With Iced eliminated, that loses some of the harassment, and Northwood still continues to gain some positioning.
Oh, and the Resurrection comes back onto Boat, so both the DPS are here for Northwood. Boat so close to that Dragon Strike, has it in their back pocket now.
And with that in the back pocket, can potentially gain value. You have Dynasty on this Genji play, still getting a decent amount of damage onto that. Now separating Lucamina away from the squad, has the deflect up to prevent the fire, so they aren't going to go down. And you still see Northwood persevering. Pulse Bomb is there, but an Immortality Field keeps them alive. Landon once again being an MVP on the timing matter, as a Flux could give more value to Dynasty getting a pickup onto Halo.
Oh, and Ymitra's res back in Landon. The healing's there. Ant Matrix available for Landon if they think they need it to win this fight, but they don't think they do. Gravitic Flux committed, gets nothing. Cyrus on the flank.
Oh, and there's a Dragon Blade committed as well to secure a second time around. We will see it through this segment, and that is a beautiful recovery from Northwood to lean in with over 3 minutes to this final stage.
3 minutes between them and capping this point. I love this decision from Dynasty going over to the Genji, knowing that they're going to get so much value out of just the raw spam that they bring to the table and those executes to follow up on what Boat is doing with their own damage. Mikey, though, has the supercharger in this next fight, going to be able to stop the bleeding a little bit and moving forward of Northwood University. As here comes Ant Matrix, shouldn't get anything just yet. That's just to zone him away, and so Northwood University will retreat and come back to live a fight another day.
And they will take full advantage of this, allow themselves to re-engage dominantly. Boat again tossing out another Dragon Strike, just constantly leading into these fights. You can see Maryville has to drop to that lower segment just below the rotating pillar so that they can potentially get back up to the high ground that is being now taken by Northwood. They're aggressing forward, and Cyrus down below doesn't have a decent angle. The Dynamite is really the only thing that can capitalize on damage here, and Kaluj has to be cautious drawing back. The Kinetic Grass doesn't get as much armor as they would have liked with it, and protection as Mikey commits the Supercharger. The extra damage should be able to force Northwood back.
Oh, and Halo's coming up onto that rally as well. Here comes the Supercharger.
Oh, the Accretion up front, slowing down Cowman, but the supports are there once again. Yamitra almost going down as we focus on the positioning up front again. Maryville holding on and just reducing this time bank second after second. Kaluj gets a pickup onto Landon, but in return, Luke Mino goes down. This is just a pool of engagement, finally favoring Maryville.
I mean, that fight lasted so long, but those fights are always going to favor Maryville in scenarios like that because of the fact that with Halo on this Brigitte, so much rally healing was done in that fight, and the rally basically turned it completely on its head. Now Northwood University coming back into this. 1 minute and 30 seconds is left for them. They have a Dragon Blade. They can combo that along with the Valkyrie and get the damage boost of Dragon Blade to basically win the fight, but you gotta look at Kaluj here. Kaluj has Gravitic Flux. If he can Gravitic Flux the Dragon Blade, that is going to stop Northwood in their tracks.
As we take time to evaluate how they enter into this, the Flux still available. Dragon Strike comes through, now going to rise them into the sky. No value really from the Dragon Strike since everyone had deviated away from it. The Valkyrie committed though by Yamitra in return to compete against it with a Flux of their own. The Pulse Bomb doesn't get anything. Landon responsive as usual with that Immortality Field. Dynasty has the blade, goes in from on high, finds the slash onto Iced and wants to continue, but there is a quick adaptation Luke Mino and Cyrus get the Shimada brothers out of the mix.
And he's not in a position to be rezzed either. Bob is committed to the point, and this is a fight win for Maryville University, holding at the very end here. Dynasty making a desperate swap back over to the Echo just to offer some of that assassination potential alongside Yamitra's pocket. But again, 15 seconds is all that's left. Mikey has the supercharger a little bit ahead of Seasons, and that could be incredibly impactful to turn the tides. So much damage Northwood is walking into right now.
We will see if they can weather this damage and the storm that is about to ensue. Cyrus with the dynamite early again, just attempting to get anywhere near an ultimate, but it's, oh my, with Yumitra down, that should be the nail in the coffin here. Landon does have the amplification matrix for an opportunity to get some picks, but Iced is going to flourish on this position, going in aggressively. Boat actually gets a takedown though, so they can still, at least at this moment, gain more distance.
But they don't have any healers left. Rich Yumitra and Landon are not in this fight, and while they do get a little bit more cart progress, does Northwood, they don't finish the map, and now the win condition is set here for Maryville University. They are just about 2 3/4 of a way of Junkertown to completing another collegiate championship.
The goal, as you mentioned, is set. Maryville has it fixated in their mind. It is present. It is the big 3. I like it. I like it. We'll admit to that. That's true. That's true. As we really just now have Northwood. I mean, when we take a look at what they've done, at least defensively, after getting a refocus on Rialto, yeah, they can do this. They are not out of this yet. And to be fair, Northwood has actually punished Maryville a little bit and really kept Cyrus constantly having to make these changes and never allowing them to feel comfortable on anything.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's really good about Cyrus specifically is that he does have, though, that champion kind of ocean to work with, or hero ocean to work with, where they can basically play anything under the sun in terms of long-range hit scan. Like, you need a Cassidy, they'll go to Cassidy. You need a Hanzo, they'll go to Hanzo. Ash, I think, has worked out incredibly well for Maryville University throughout a lot of the maps that we've seen, except for the times where Northwood University has been very good at countering them. Now, when we're in a little bit more of an open map like this on Junkertown, and Cyrus can find some of those angles to get huge dynamites in the backline, force out cooldowns, like things, the Immortality Field being the biggest one, then it kind of changes a little bit. Cyrus will go back to the Ash, definitely. And Dynasty is sticking onto this Echo on the defensive end. Again, that spam look coming out from Northwood University. But one of the things is that there is so much open space that Dynasty has to play very carefully around the geometry of Junkertown to not just be in an open area.
Hopefully they're primed and ready for some mathematical work today to keep their distance and out of sight lines. The Dice Dynamite early. Cyrus just chasing Dynasty down, knowing that if they're out in the open, it is a free position, and you have a great assistance. Now the res comes through, though, so Dynasty is back online. Yumitra getting low in the Immortality Field to give coverage, and Boat says, I've got you, my friend, with a return res as well from Halo, so both have been expended.
Yeah, Boat gets taken down, though, so now Dynasty is the only one left. There is no resurrection. Another fantastic call from Mikey, and this fight's over, Rich.
Kaluj going to play aggressively up front, mitigating to make sure that they've got enough protection to sustain through this regroup underneath this building to knock down Seasons, and they will gain a lot of distance and this checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult because I understand the pick of, like, the Echo. You know, you want to be able to have this really spammy type of composition, but on first specifically, it's super, super hard, especially with not much geometry to play around as the Echo, to move out of the way of the sights of something like Cyrus on this Ash, or even, like, getting halted by an Orisa. So they're going to be keeping it for second. I think it's good because it's a little bit more of an enclosed area and you can fly around a little bit easier, and you're close to Duplicate, which is a fight-winning ult.
Yeah, that's the significant part. In addition, in this second phase, the Duplicate is almost online with only 20% remaining. As Kaluj plays very far forward, seeing if they can get some intel, and even kind of ricocheting down below, getting some really decent shots for those underneath, almost even getting the elimination, and Cyrus now looking for the high ground for a crossfire. Dragon Strike comes in from Boat, not gaining really anything, to be fair, and just utilizing that to see if they can get some potential picks or redirections as Kaluj goes with the Flux, going hyper-focused onto Landon, gets stunned from behind, but Pulse Bomb comes out and prevails. Bolt DPS for Northwood eliminated.
Ooh, Yumitra there not has the resurrection just yet, so both of the DPS for Northwood are not here.
Yep, and with them not being here, it's just going to spell even further disaster for Northwood. They have made the decisions going into this, but now they're probably going to find themselves only in this final stretch position with a massive time bank stacked up for Maryville.
Yamitra gets one in the back end with the Mercy pistols. Duplicates here for Dynasty. Gets the Baptiste. Immortality Field should be around, but it's too late.
Oh no, they're going to be able to get the opportunity to regroup. You do have Peluge coming in up front, able to sustain, help out their partner. Mikey survives. Boat gets a couple of pickups, but there's still nothing that they can do about it, and that will be a secured next checkpoint. The spin to win won't last for long, and we go into this home stretch.
I mean, Landon is trying as much as they can. It's still contested. They're not there just yet. They finally managed to take it away, and that felt like Northwood University threw everything onto the table there in terms of trying to win that fight, and now they have no legs to stand on with all the wholesale swaps they're making at the very end. Seasons is going to get stalled here. So nasty, and Maryville University have a huge time bank going in to this third area, and they don't even need to get all the way to the end.
No, they don't. With this 4 minutes and 40 seconds, this is multiple occasions. Even if they find themselves getting outmatched by this compositional switch, they have more than enough to stack up ultimates to just completely snowball this. Now, with Ice down below, keeping contention and allowing that payload to move forward, Cyrus also maneuvering between this high and low ground position, looking for the shots onto Boat. Almost gets it, but survives with coverage from the shielding and support healing. And now as they approach this, look at how close they're getting. They need to do something with this. They might have to just collapse from that high ground position to engage.
Iced is down though, so that means there is no pulse bomb in this next fight. Maryville have to back it up a little bit. They don't have that tracer in their back pocket. They know that they need Iced in this fight to be able to win. They know they have enough time to work with as well, so they're playing it as safe as possible right here. Landon and Luke Mino, both their Ant Matrixes are up, but Rich, look at the DPS and tank ults. Here comes Ant Matrix from Northwood.
And with that amplification matrix, it allows all of Maryville to fall back and have to hold patiently, but they have the time to work with. Immortality Field has been tossed out as well to mitigate the damage that comes in from the high ground position. Ice looking for the pickup onto Yamitra, but the Immortality Field from Northwood also contributed into this. Bob comes in and gets the pick onto Landon!
The supports are both dead here, Rich. I think Maryville's got this.
They are cleaning it up one after another. They have found the opportunity. They have taken full grasp of it for Maryville. This match and this game was not a try, but a do. Not a should, but a must. And you will see them now be able to take this. As Max said, they are a one team, one family composition and will be able to etch their names into the 2022 Collegiate Overwatch history books.
The second burst is the same as the first, as we saw last year. Two quick, easy maps for Maryville, it felt like. Then Northwood come back in an absolute bonkers map 3 and 4 with some great performances by Boat. But at the end, in a map 5 scenario, when Maryville needed to win the most, they take it with an incredible play from them and their double shield looks. I cannot stress how good this team is. Definitely deserving. Collegiate is going to get their national championship before they move on to Overwatch League. This has been a team that cannot be stopped. They are on another level right now.
And major compliments to everything. And this is also for Mac to hold his head high too, to say, you know what? I've left this last semester with another championship title from this team, and all of their efforts and all of their, just consistent drive and success and passion for these players have really paid off. In Kenobi, we will have a chance to be able to talk with one specifically. It is going to be Iced coming in from Maryville, that we get to hear firsthand how they're feeling and what their team energy level is. So with that said, don't go anywhere, because I cannot wait to see how they're feeling. Did you miss last week, gamers? Don't worry, we've got you covered with some highlights from last weekend.
Starting things off, we've got Collegiate Maryville University with a flick you weren't expecting.
They're so strategic, and it's just a well-oiled machine right now. Eiko now looking for the back.
Oh, he's so good. He's so good, man.
Oh. To follow up, we have Valentine from SCAD cleaning up in multiple areas on the map of Blizzard World. But as I say that, the aggression forward, Grandview gets overrun, and their health values are so low, and now Valentine just has free farm onto those in the back line.
You see a replay of this pulse bomb from Valentine. Nice stick, and the shield just not enough. I mean, credit. In our next spot, Cowman rocks Inferno's world during a gravitic flux.
Nice body block, preventing anyone from getting it eliminated. The flux now available. Immortality Field tries to be taken. Oh my goodness!
The Burger Bandit, Cowman himself. I mean, unreal rock there. If that gravitic flux goes through from Infernal, that fight could look completely different, but it's...
For our second to last play, we have Light demonstrating impeccable Doomfist play from UCI. There's still a stack full of ultimates though here for UCI. Playing this cross high ground, Light comes in again. They know just repeatedly how to utilize this Doomfist play, and it is yielding so much value.
In our final play, Fated's Miracle 2 HP hold on Havana. I don't know if they can win though.
It's a good idea, but they're actually getting this. Faded has no health. Bay State has actually brought so much to UCI.
I cannot believe that.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. And if you thought these plays were great, keep sticking around so you can see more collegiate action. We are back, friends, with none other than Player Iced from Maryville, who we are excited to be able to speak with after they come out in a 5th map in the grand finals, being truly undefeated across this winner's bracket. Iced, how are you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was a little closer than I'd like it to have been, but you know, we got it in the end.
So kind of talk to me a little bit about your games today, because like yesterday you had that like really, I would say probably exhausting, I would imagine, game against Northwood University, and like coming into this day, were you expecting you would face Northwood again probably in the grand finals?
We were like unsure. I know we wanted to face Northwood more than we wanted to face Harrisburg, just because we know we can beat Northwood on the mirror. So I think we were expecting Northwood, but we could have gone either way, but they actually rolled Harrisburg, so.
I mean, they did very, very well coming in with that type of morale and motivation to start competing against you. But, you know, talk us through the mentality, like you commented. You saw them really start to just do so well at the start of today, and then you now coming out, being able to take, you know, this first map of control leading into the second. At that point, did you honestly think that it was done and dusted?
Dude, okay, so after the second map, like, we haven't lost a Rialto in scrims or a match in 3 months. So we were just like, okay. Well, they just want to lose. Like, we just thought they wanted to get it over with. But, no, I guess they wanted to make it like, a little longer. I think it wouldn't have been as long. I think, unironically, I think they had the Tracer Mirror and they were getting gapped in that, and they just picked, like, the 2 easy characters, Echo Hanzo as, like, a band-aid fix. And then it took us, like, a bit to adjust, and then, like, we forced a map where you can't just pick Echo Hanzo and win.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we definitely saw that kind of on their defense, where it was like when they picked Echo Hanzo on defense, it must have been like, oh yeah, okay, well, like this on Junkertown, this is pretty good for us. But like, yeah. when you were like going through map 3 and map 4, because you guys were here last year in a similar situation where it was like you win the first 2 games pretty easily, and then it's like map 3 and 4. Are you guys kind of just like, oh no, here we go again? Like we're back in this position. Like, how did you guys keep your mental going through 3 and 4 to get to 5?
Honestly, I don't even remember the 3rd and 4th maps. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what happened. I think we just picked. I think on Rialto we picked like Fed Brig instead of Mercy into Echo Hanzo, and on the other map we just forced stuff we didn't need to, and found like random picks every single fight.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, you say that it kind of just goes like out of mind for the moment, and that's something that. Even talking to Mac and CKG, that they've really like tried to instill in all of you as a team to just be able to accept the losses and move forward stronger and not allow them to affect you. How is their, you know, leadership and just ability to oversee what you do as a team been impactful as a whole to you? Like, how has that been meant? So what value does that mean to you?
Well, I do think CKG and Mac, I think we have the best management in Collegiate, because I don't think, at least in this level, like the coaching isn't about like how like good you are about micro game knowledge. It's about like getting people to work together and like have fun. And I think we have like literally like the 6 best players in Collegiate on all their roles, especially Cyrus. I don't know, you guys don't guess Cyrus enough up. But that guy does not get enough credit. That guy's insane. But yeah, I genuinely think that they just do their job and they just like keep us chilled. Because at the end of the day, I think like matches like these just come down to just like, as long as you like your teammates and you're having fun, like you'll just do like way better.
So talk to me a little bit about Cyrus, because you're hyping him up, you're gassing him up. He is your boy, your DPS partner. Like, how is that relationship between the two of you worked out? Like, do you guys just like have that kind of synergy between each other where you know like what you're going to be doing, how you're going to be playing, and it works out as well as it does in a lot of these maps?
Yeah, so I've actually known Cyrus since like 2018. We've always had like a dream we wanted to play together on like a team and like compete in person with each other. So it's like nice to finally be able to like do that and see success with it as well. So.
Yeah, because it really does show your synergy between the two, and it's really, really impeccable. And there are, even on these replays that we're getting to see, there is a lot of Cyrus when it came into this Rialto map, even though we know it wasn't a win for Maryville in that sense before starting to transition. So when you started to go against this, Boat Dynasty value that they really started to bring, and that was kind of the tipping point where Boat started to get so much value as well as Dynasty. How did the communication between your team kind of go to outmatch the value that they've been bringing to these engagements?
Honestly, the third and fourth map we kind of messed up like a lot. Like we didn't like we didn't do it correctly, and then I think the third map we like tightened up and we started to like get in our flow, especially on that attack. I think we finally figured out how exactly we wanted to play the fights in this comp. So it was a bunch of just like testing. We tried a bunch of different stuff, and then on the third map like we found something that worked and we stuck with it.
So is that because I know Mikey is kind of, when we like gave out questionnaires, Mikey is kind of the person who does a lot of the shot calling. Was that like a group effort to kind of like puzzle piece the way to like beat this composition between like all 6 of you to like figure out what you needed to do?
Yeah, we tried a couple of different things, and I think we finally just landed on like taking like Junkertown and then just like denying like Echo like space and then not dying to Hanzo. That's like the only way I can put it. Just like don't get randomly picked. Forehead.
Don't get logged.
Yeah,
don't get logged. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you were able to come back after it because, to be fair, the control map was really, really hard, and I know Cyrus was working so avidly to be able to get this Sombra to gain value, and you finally were able to swap away from it to try and get alternative value. But do you think going into now, let's say this last map of Junkertown, you're revisiting what had happened yesterday, and you're on that same map selection? Did you really, really think that it was going to be, as close as it was all the way to the end?
Well, I don't think Junkertown was that close. I think we captured like 3 minutes, didn't we?
Yeah, you guys were.
But I mean, as in like that, like closer is the point of where you didn't get to actually complete it, like go to extra rounds in that sense.
Oh yeah. Well, I think as soon as we picked, because yesterday we got cheese comp for the Bastion, like we picked Widow Tracer, because that's just like what we're comfortable with. And then this time we're like, okay, either of us can pick Widow. I had a nice ranked game today on Widow, so I'm like, all right, I'm feeling it. I'll play some Widow, and then we'll play Hanzo, and if they do pick the Bastion, like we can counter it and stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like at the start you guys were like, you guys put Halo on Zen. Like you guys were like, dude, there is no shot we are getting cheesed again. We had this happen yesterday. This is not happening a second time.
Haley's Zen is insane. It's actually one of her better characters. So.
Okay.
So last thing I want to ask for you, asking the player, because we commented during the broadcast, the chant that you and your team do, one team, one family. What does that mean to you as a unit? And then also if there's any major shout outs that you would also include in that one team, one family.
I'm not a really sentimental guy, so it just like I feel like it's just more of like a team morale thing. But I guess if I had to like shout out specific people, just shout out Dan and Andrew, like our management, and Shipley, the content director. Like Dan and Andrew, I don't know. I feel like the reason Maryville is as good as they are in Collegiate and like Overwatch and in League is just because of them. Like, I think they're just so much farther ahead in management than like all the other programs. I think like a lot of programs can learn from what they do. So, I definitely shout out Dan and Andrew.
They can't go unnoticed. They really can't. And really, really excited to see what has come from the event. We were excited to be able to see this broadcast live and to see you all perform and demonstrate the level of competitiveness that comes from your school and your players. So we can't tell you enough how grateful it is to have the chance to talk with you, my friend. And now it's the moment for you to be able to lavish in this celebration.
Yep, I appreciate it. Hey, twitch.tv/iced. If you got a Twitch Prime, go ahead and use it now. Thank you guys so much. See you guys next year.
You wanna plug your Twitter too?
Overwatch OW_iced. Almost at 3K.
There we go.
Code ICE.
You gotta get both of them in there.
I just got a lot of things going on. I'm a businessman, so just do all that. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great day. I'm gonna go celebrate.
Definitely. Thank you, my friend. Enjoy. Oh, Kenobi. I mean, It's such a great thing just to see this level of excitement, and despite not being, sentimental as they said, they're still giving so much credit to those who've been such a powerful force for their success.
Yeah, I mean, it's been incredible to see this journey that this team has taken. I'm actually mad I didn't get to ask Iced about what he's going to eat to celebrate, because I saw a tweet that he orders 5 extra butters with his baked potatoes, so I needed to ask him, like, what the deal is with that. That's a bit of a blunder on my end, but you can see the schedule that we've had here today. Northwood University taking a convincing win over Harrisburg University in Maryville in another 3-2 series against their rival Northwood University are finally able to close it out, as we'll look a little bit potentially at the bracket, that how we got here through the loser's side and then eventually through that winner's side. It's been an incredible journey for all of these teams, in Maryville again stand atop the collegiate pedestal like we expect them to do, I think, at this point.
Mm-hmm. And Kenobi, as excited as I am for us to crown the winner, I'm also, somewhat a little sad that it's over.
Yeah, I mean, all good things eventually do come to an end, but hey, don't be sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened. And This was a great tournament that we got to be a part of. I could not ask for a better series that we had to, like, throughout everything that we had on broadcast. All of it was amazing. Production's been amazing. You've been amazing. Chat's been absolutely amazing.
Yes, all of those.
They were a little bit wrong in terms of predictions a couple of times. We'll sweep that under the rug. It doesn't matter. This has been a phenomenal experience. Collegiate Overwatch is awesome, and I cannot wait for the next time we get to see you guys.
Absolutely. And, even further when it came to their following up on the espresso puns, I love that. I'm glad that they were able to throw that in there just to give a little bit more of a jab to Kenobi. But, with that being said, we come to our moment of saying farewell, my friends. These moments that we have witnessed will forever be marked in our memories, and we get to have the opportunity of seeing those inspired who might not have yet obtained greatness become those next elite gamers. And you commented on it. Collegiate is just a spectacle to witness, and just continuing to see the growth and excitement being brought to the community means there's no value that you can put on that. So from us all here working on the broadcast, it has been an absolute honor and a privilege to be able to guide you from no matter where you are through these absolutely compelling stories. Your passion and support truly does make Collegiate flourish, and we cannot wait to see how it continues to go in that direction. So from us here, we wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, happy gaming, and we'll see you next time, friends.